Good evening. Good evening. This business meeting of the Board of Education of the Cleveland Municipal School District will come to order. In the absence of our CFO, Mr. Stockdale, the board is required by state law to appoint a treasurer pro tempore for this meeting. The chair will now entertain nominations. Thank you, Ms. Howell. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Sridhar has been nominated and seconded. All in favor of appointing Dr. Sridhar treasurer pro tem for this meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any objections signify by saying nay. The ayes have it. Dr. Sridhar is appointed treasurer pro tempore for this meeting. Dr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Ellicott,
Here.
Mr. Billups,
Here.
Mr. Briggs,
Here.
Ms. Jones,
Here.
Pastor Jones,
Here.
Ms. LeBron,
Here.
Ms. Peak,
Here.
Dr. Sridhar here, Ms. Welch-Howell,
Here.
9 members present.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. I ask everyone who wishes to rise and participate in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, as we get started, I do want to share a few comments. We are here to conduct a public meeting. I know that many folks are here. Understand that people are moving, but if we can please transition slowly. All right, we are starting the meeting. I do want to say one. Did they let them?
I don't know how many. You can let them know. They're coming later. We'll come back.
intention to prevent people from being in the room at all. However, we also need to conduct the meeting with everybody's safety in mind. And as everybody, I think, knows, rooms have safety capacities. I appreciate everyone making room. I appreciate everyone making room. If we're not able to conduct the meeting, we will have to adjourn. We're here to conduct a meeting. I ask for everyone's participation in allowing us to conduct the meeting. That does require that we need to be heard up here. Again, thank you for making space. Our intention is not to prevent people from being in the room. At some point, overflow may be needed. Our hope is that everybody can fit. Again, we're looking to conduct a meeting here today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We recognize that people rightfully have strong feelings, in particular about the staffing and building decisions that are being made. We recognize that people are being harmed and feeling harmed, and that there are valid anxieties around all of the changes, including the ones discussed today and at the last meeting and at prior board meetings. Our intention is to discuss those decisions. Today in particular, there will be public participation for those who have signed up, so that will be the first thing that we do. And I want to speak for the board when I say that the decisions that we make, though difficult, have the underlying goal of long-term student success within the constraints that we are operating with. And I also want to say that none of us up here take these decisions lightly. We don't make a salary. The school board is unpaid. The school board serves on a volunteer basis, and we are here because we care about education just like you. Again, if the disruptions are too much for us to continue the meeting, we will adjourn. We are trying to conduct a meeting. Thank you for being here. And it is important that we do our business in public. First, we will have our period of public participation. During this segment of the business meeting, we'll hear all public comment on either agenda or non-agenda items. This public participation period will be for persons who previously submitted the online request to speak form to address the board for up to 3 minutes each. After public participation, we will conduct further board business, some of it regarding the topics that will come up during public participation. I invite and hope that everyone, or as many people as can make it, can stay for the remainder of the meeting as well, past that public participation time, and we welcome you to stay. Again, public participation will be up to 3 minutes each. You'll see the timers on each side of the screen, and when your time is up, I ask you to wrap up your sentence and move on so that the next person can come up. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start with Mr. Errol Savage.
In the beginning, Chair Ellicott, I had such hopes for building brighter futures. I thought this would lead to more opportunities for students, increased choices for families, and increased programming for everyone. I had even thought, in an optimistic way, that we would be hiring more teachers. And now that we've gotten into building brighter futures, I see our students from Campus International are in an orphaned program. Our students at the Montessori schools won't have teachers that are Montessori trained. We've got a nightmare of necessary transfers coming that I just don't see how we're going to get through that without a massive mess from our special education students' parents who really need those services. I do think there's a way forward for the district. One is they have to stop trying to cutting their way to the top. I do think that cutting services is the wrong way to go, and I think cutting off dialogue with the Cleveland Teachers Union won't lead to a brighter future. It's certainly my hope that the Board of Education continues to direct the district to keep talking to the Cleveland Teachers Union and to keep talking to me. And speaking of people talking, there are going to be people behind me that want to speak to the board, and they're going to be speaking with a lot of passion and in some cases anger. Anger that I don't think is truly directed at the board or the district, but instead probably at a larger system of school funding that is inherently unfair to children. A system of school funding that I think we just have to call it as we see it, is explicitly puts taxpayers against students, property owners against schools, leaves our urban children behind in general, and in specific our black children. Any state legislator that tells me otherwise is lying through their teeth, and if it takes the whitest guy in the room to point it out, maybe at least one of them will start to listen. I also think that we're dealing with billionaire sports owners in the city who decided 17 years ago that their parking lots were worth more than our public schools and stole the seat money from the children of Cleveland, which Mr. Tracy addressed up until 3 weeks before he died, reminding us that those are many millions of dollars that would solve this crisis we're in now if we had that money. We can't blame this all on the state legislator, but also have to look closer to home with tax abatements and TIFs that gentrify neighborhoods and hurt schools. There's so many issues, Ms. Ellicott, and I really am going to try and finish on time, which I'm not quite, but I think about, I'll finish my sentence, though. If I can finish my sentence, Ms. Ellicott. What's that, Ms. Ellicott?
Go ahead and finish your sentence.
Thank you. My sentence is, as these people speak to you behind me, I truly hope that you'll listen. And if you listen to them, I think they'll listen to our superintendent's report. We can continue dialoguing and come to a solution. Thank you, Chair Ellicott.
Kirsten Lasko, or Lexo, apologies. Only the person that is registered can speak for this public comment period.
Okay, you got it? Give me to Okay.
I was coming up here to say
sorry.
something, but
Let me say it for you.
Which one of you is
This is
Kirsten
my
Laxo?
if you will listen, you will know.
My-
Calm down.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is my friend Martel. This is, sorry, this is my
Okay,
friend
I
Martel.
need only the person who's speaking to come up to the podium. We won't be
Okay,
able to
yes, it
accommodate
does.
anybody else at the podium. Thank you.
Okay. This is a student, Martel. This is who I work for, and I'm going to read his statement. And I'm just going to read it verbatim. I am standing before you representing not only myself, but many teachers and the Brighter Future Project. That means I'm here to speak the truth, whether it's comfortable or not. What is happening right now is unacceptable. Multiple teachers are being laid off, and you need to understand clearly. These are not positions you are cutting. These are people. People with families, people with bills, people who have dedicated years of their lives to educating students in this district. And yet they are being dismissed as if their services mean nothing. We are here because this is not fair. We are here because this is not right. My aunt, Erica Torres, is here today. She has served this district for over a decade, over 10 years of commitment, hard work, and showing up for students. And now she's just being laid off. How do you justify that? What message does that send to other teachers who have given their time, energy, and heart to this district? You speak about supporting educators and building a stronger future, but your actions are telling a completely different story. A brighter future cannot exist when you're tearing down the very people who make that future possible. So yes, I am here to tell you about yourselves. These decisions are hurting real people, damaging morale, and weakening this trust this community has in you, and we will not sit here quietly while it happens. We are writing and speaking for what is right. We expect you to do the same. Sincerely, Martell Reed.
Carrie Ewart Crocker.
Good evening. I am William and Iris's mom, your employee, and I want to know, what is your plan from here forward to minimize the harm and trauma being caused by these mergers and moves? I am speaking today both as a person who understands the district's need to right size and a person with grave concerns about how this process has unfolded. In the initial presentations about BBF, the focus was on hopeful, idealized outcomes and fundamentally ignored the disruption and trauma caused by major overhauls such as this. To my knowledge, we have not publicly discussed a plan for addressing the trauma. The expedited timeline of this process seems to have eliminated the capacity of the district to shepherd these closures and decisions with grace. Eve Ewing's Ghosts in the Schoolyard, a detailed and distressing account of the closure and consolidation of Chicago's public schools, was released 6 years ago. Did we read this book, consider the data out of Chicago, and think, that's sad for them, but we're built differently? The previous April board meeting should have proven to you our schools are not machines to be broken down and sold for parts. They are living, breathing organisms, staffed by real people and attended by real children. The board has assured us that school communities could stay together through this process, but it is clear now that that is not true. The decisions that have been made are painful and will have long-term negative impacts on the student body. At Tremont, but also district-wide, skilled educators are being laid off. Special education units are being closed and moved, and children with IEPs relocated to new programs, taking siblings along with them. Teachers are being pulled from their teams and places of experience and sent to new buildings and new levels. For communities like ours, where loss has already been acute, the trauma is compounded. My daughter looked at me when she found out her teacher had been laid off and said, "Miss Moskal died of cancer, and now the district is laying off Miss Oldrichs?" Montessori credentialed teachers and experienced paraprofessionals are being laid off and transferred, and we have no word whether our beloved cafeteria, custodial, security staff will move with us. We need Montessori administrators and teachers, or our accreditation is at risk. We cannot say this program will be whole when it moves to Waverly, because it is not true. To students, teachers, and families of CMSD schools, it seems as though this dramatic upheaval has been about spreadsheets, data points, and highly paid consultants. But that's not our experience of what a school is. Our experience is working to build community between teachers and students and families and teaching teams, faculty, and support staff. We appreciate the magnitude of this task, but so many communities are being gutted and rearranged that we have to ask, is this surgery going to kill the patient? When the cuts are so deep and so many, how long will it take these communities to heal? And has the district has not outlined any plan to help that healing process, who will shoulder the burden of that care work? We need a plan to stop the bleeding. Let's discuss harm reduction. My children and I want to know, where is the brighter future?
Thank you. Laura Stewart. Laura Stewart. We can only have the speaker at the podium, please. Thank you.
Bye, Fred. Can you stand back there?
Yes, but we want to make sure that everyone can move around the room, that there aren't obstacles, so thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Stewart.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Morgan and board members. My name is Laura Stewart. I'm the 4-5 ELA and science teacher at Hannah Gibbons. You know, the school where about half our staff received notices on April 10th. I'm also the chapter chair, so I began that day preparing to possibly speak to one, maybe two people, and then I ended up receiving the first notice out of 8. Dr. Morgan, the first and last time we saw you at Hannah Gibbons was when you did your listening tour. You walked through the building for 5 minutes and called us historically failing. You did minimal listening. Therefore, I have to ask you, if that's how you felt on your first and last visit, was this the plan for Hannah Gibbons the whole time? We had 2 back-to-back years of losing most of our staff. I had 9 8th graders in my kindergarten class for at least a couple months, but regardless, we showed up for them. Did you? This is the first year in a long time that we felt secure, and students consistently expressed that they are so happy to have consistency in their classrooms, and they finally feel confident in their learning. But you never acknowledged that growth, just the label of 6th lowest enrollment in the district. We just reached a point of accepting BBF, and we're able to work together with our families to provide as much stability and support as possible for our kids, because we actually believe in building a brighter future for them. But half of us had to tell our students that the little bit of hope that we just got back is gone. This is a message from one of our middle schoolers. Ms. J truly cares about us. They are taking away our teachers that truly care about us. She's the only one that hasn't left us. Before this year, we had subs. We had teachers that quit on us. Ms. J is my favorite teacher ever, and she actually inspired me to be a teacher. So are we historically failing, or have we been consistently falling victim to a system that keeps failing us? But each time we stood by our kids. Why aren't you? Whose brighter future are you actually building? 1111? Why are you okay? Why are you okay with the fact that these children don't even know who you are or what you do? They just know that you took their school away, and just when we reach a point of acceptance, you took their teachers away. In what world is it normal for teachers and students to have to go to the news to beg a school board to care about our students and our schools? Why do we have to ask you to care at all? Why do we have to ask you? The headings and titles on district websites and newsletters say how dedicated you are to our scholars and teachers, so why don't your policies and mission statements align? But like the record has shown many times, you don't care when it's not your child, and you don't care when it's not your job. After all, you are not the one who stood in front of our kids with tears in your eyes delivering a heartbreaking news with a broken heart of your own. Why did you have to spend almost $300,000 to disrupt the lives of the community as a whole? Well, you were trying to avoid a fiscal crisis. Didn't wiping out every program that showed student growth do that? I mean, I asked for access to a program, and I got told the district has a bunch of free trials, but they're being selective over who they give them to. Anyway, when can I see a now open sign on the charter school that will replace Hannah Gibbons? Can I expect a walkthrough tomorrow? If I may finish, can I expect a walkthrough tomorrow? Because retaliation over conversation. Students don't care how much you know, Dr. Morgan. They want to know how much you care, and respectfully, your slogans are hollow. So many words are being said, but no sense is being made. Prove us wrong, Dr. Morgan. Our children want answers. They deserve them.
Next up is Kadira Shahich.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kadira Sahik. My students know me as Ms. K. You may know me as the algebra teacher whose class of 20 teenagers cried in her arms after learning about her layoff. Although the majority of my time in the classroom is spent on calculations and computations, I'm not here to talk to you about numbers. I believe transparency is important, so let me be fully transparent with you in saying that I don't understand the fiscal reasoning behind the decision to lay off hundreds of teachers and staff. I can't effectively speak to you about the budget and school funding systems because I don't fully understand them myself. What I can speak on is the social emotional impact the layoffs have had on the middle school students at Campus International. My algebra class spent the weekend after April 10th grieving the layoffs. By Monday, they had wiped the tears from their eyes and returned to school with a sense of determination, ready to channel their despair into action. They made flyers to help the younger grades understand what was happening to their teachers. They created an online hub with information and resources, along with suggestions for steps that students could take if they wish to contact the district. They sacrificed their recess and after-school time to contact the media, to scavenge pieces of cardboard to make signs, and were able to successfully organize over 100 middle school students to conduct a peaceful protest. Over a dozen Campus International students carried this momentum into that evening, attending the board meeting where they made their presence known amongst a room full of adults. Some administrative employees in the front row shared disapproving looks with my students as they took center stage at the board meeting, to which one of my students responded, "Let them be angry. They're adults. If we make enough noise to get under their skin, maybe our noise should be listened to." Through the experiences of the past few weeks, I have witnessed my students find their voice and find the courage to make their voice heard. I need our children to see that if they care about something, if they take a stand and speak up about it, that they can bring about change. I need our children to see that their actions carry weight, that they can make a difference. For me, this is no longer just about preserving my employment with CMSD. It's about showing my students that their words have power, and that they can use that power to make a positive impact. Prove to our students that their words matter. I implore you to please listen to our children. Thank you.
Julie Radka.
Good evening. I am a CMSD educator here tonight to represent my brothers and sisters who are affected by these mass layoffs. And though I am not directly affected, my heart goes out to those who are. You have laid off over 300 beloved educators and staff, and while these may just seem like numbers or necessary cuts, it's so much more than that. People have poured their hearts and their souls into their positions at CMSD, and you are actively taking that away. The way you have gone about this is cruel and disheartening. You and your executive team claim that cutting these 300 positions will save the district around $150 million over a 3-year span. But what about when that 3-year span is over? Are you just going to cut a mass group of educators to save money? On the official CMSD website under the Building Brighter's Future page, you claim that, quote, every school will have steady or increased staffing for safety, nursing, counseling, and career services, end quote. That statement alone is extremely contradicting to these mass layoffs that are currently happening. How is CMSD supposed to operate with steady and increased staffing if over 300 positions are being eliminated? That does not seem very safe to me. It is federal law to provide every student with a free and appropriate public education. But how is cutting teachers, resources, and heavily increasing class sizes an appropriate education? It is public knowledge that Dr. Morgan and his executive team earns high 6-figure salaries. Meanwhile, our teachers, and especially our paraprofessionals, are being paid peanuts. CMSD continues to operate at a very high level of financial irresponsibility, considering they paid the consulting firm CoLeague $272,000 for assistance with these mass layoffs. Not to mention a lease for central office is $2 million a year, and they claim that breaking a lease is not an option. Many CMSD buildings are operating for next school year in deplorable conditions. Central office is nice and modern, so how is it equitable for our students to not receive the same? You claim these closures are necessary due to low enrollment, but maybe parents wouldn't be sending their kids to private or charters if CMSD actually provided top-of-the-line educational resources like they claim. To close off my message, I am asking Dr. Morgan, the CMSD executive team, and the CMSD Board of Education to deeply reflect on their poor financial management that ultimately led to these mass layoffs of beloved staff members and these building closures. CMSD operates under the guise of a fair, just, and good system of education. However, their recent actions are far from that. All CMSD employees, students, families, and communities will remain united during this time of educational and employment injustice. We demand full transparency and accountability for the actions. Our voices will never be silenced. Thank you for your time.
Hannah Eaton.
CEO Morgan and members of the board, I stand here as one of the 6 library media specialists who was laid off. I also stand in solidarity with the 75 5Cs whose position was eliminated entirely. For those unfamiliar, all library media centers are staffed by a full-time 5C who monitors the daily operations of the space. Each librarian then has multiple school assignments. While the system is not perfect, it has worked well for the past 4 years. Our district circulation this year alone is 112,000 books and over 28,000 ebooks. With the recent changes that were passed by this very board, all that will remain for library services and CMSD moving forward is 12 librarians. 12 librarians to serve more than 33,000 students. 12 librarians to serve more than 60 schools. Each library will be open 1 day per week. This will drastically affect the quality of programming and essentially eliminate daily library access. The public deserves to know that in recent years, hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent on renovations in the libraries and for new books for every school. These books will sit gathering dust rather than in the hands of children. Lastly, I plead with board member Carolyn Peak. Ms. Peak, you served as a branch manager of the Cleveland Public Library for over 20 years. You once came to our department meeting to speak to us about the essential nature of libraries and literacy. We saw you as a colleague and an advocate. Could your library branch have operated with 1 librarian working 1 day per week with no help? I doubt it. Your silence is disappointing. We ask you to use your platform to support us and to insist that all librarians and 5Cs are reinstated. Fully staffed school libraries are not a luxury. They are a necessity. Brighter futures means that our scholars have access to their fully staffed school libraries 5 days a week. Today at Nathan Hale, the dreaded question came. Ms. Eaton, will you be here next year? And for the first time in 7 years, the answer was no. And I couldn't explain why, because I don't understand why. Thank you.
John Bell.
Good evening. I come before you all with a question for reflection for Dr. Morgan and for the board, but to add context to my question. First, I have to speak on another district in Northeast Ohio. My nephew attends school in Madison, and similar to Cleveland, they've had to undertake substantial cuts. They've closed an elementary school. They are combining their middle school with their high school. There's a lot of that going around in Ohio. Times are tough all over. But there is one thing that makes Madison stand out, and that is their superintendent, Mr. Rambler. Madison has a district office, much like Cleveland, but he does not spend his time there. He spends most of his time in the high school. He is not angling for photo ops. He is not looking for gotcha moments. Mr. Rambler works from the high school to make himself available to the most important people in any school district, the students. My nephew has spoken with me several times of conversations he and his friends have had with their superintendent, and it honestly makes me feel happy and have a lot of hope that his district leadership is so available to him as a student. Now, Mr. Rambler earns a salary that is roughly half that of Dr. Morgan's. Yet he is willing to do his part to alleviate the financial pain of their district by going before the Madison School Board to request a voluntary pay cut to help shoulder the burden. Now, the man's not a saint. This cut is not significant. It's $6,000 or so dollars. This is a cut smaller, in fact, than the one that I and every teacher that were working at a year-round or extended day school were forced to take coming into the 25-26 school year. The same time period, might I add, which saw administrative staff see salary increases across the board, in some cases in amounts approaching the salaries of staff that have been laid off as of last board meeting without even public board discussion, let alone public speech. But the message that Mr. Rambler sent with his sacrifice is clear. I am in this with you. I am a part of your school community, and I will shoulder my portion of the burden to see the blue streaks through these hard times. My question for Dr. Morgan and for the board is that if hard-working educators in this district are having these sacrifices forced upon them, if this pain and these cuts are truly necessary, then what are you willing to sacrifice? Personally,
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
to show your community
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
that
Rebecca Lajard.
Good evening to the mayor-appointed board. I'm struggling to square your goalpost and guardrail talking points with your actions. Math proficiency goal says the percentage of first-time test takers who are proficient in Algebra 1 will increase from 26% to 50%. At the board meeting 2 weeks ago, you talked about the need to have Algebra 1 and pre-algebra courses at the 7th and 8th grade levels. Yet on Friday, April 10th, you laid off the only 7th grade pre-algebra teacher in the district who is here tonight. Shout out. It was her students that showed up to the meeting pleading to keep their teacher. It was those students that you denied the microphone. Your goal sounds really hollow when you lay off the only pre-algebra teacher at the 7th grade level. Next one. Opportunity and Access Guardrail says the CEO shall not implement an academic program that fails to provide access to career preparation opportunities for all students. I want to tell you about a former student. I didn't know I got a slot tonight, so I didn't ask for her permission, so I will leave her name out of it. But this student graduated from John Marshall Civic and Business Leadership in 2024. She had a beautiful baby at the end of her junior year and was still at school on time every day, ready to graduate. She was not only on time, but she showed up early to open the student-run coffee shop. She got a job at PNC Bank and just last week was promoted to lead teller. She's thriving and finding career success. The person that mentored her and connected her to that opportunity was our 5C coordinator. Our 5C coordinator pours huge amounts of time and energy into running the Partner Up internship program, which connects our scholars with real jobs. Your guardrail on opportunity and access sounds really hollow when you remove the people who do the on-the-ground labor of connecting our scholars with those opportunities. Last one. Community Engagement Guardrail says the CEO shall not make significant changes to the operation of the district without meaningful ways for the community to provide input. Here's my small logistical input. My school size is tripling. If you care about testing so much, we need a mutual agreement that permits more than one testing coordinator. If you care about our social and emotional well-being so much, we need more than one planning center. If you care about meaningful, joyful experiences for students, we need more than one senior advisor. Dr. Morgan, I look forward to meeting with you in person to negotiate and sign this agreement. Thank you guys.
Jessica Fortuna.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Fortuna. I am the 7th, 8th grade ELA teacher at Halley Elementary. In the Lorax, Dr. Seuss reminds us that unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. The Lorax spoke for the trees because they could not speak for themselves. Today, I am here to speak for the kids, especially those whose voices are not always present in these conversations, but whose lives are directly shaped by the decisions made in this room. CMSD's Building Brighter Futures vision promises equity, opportunity, and excellence for every student. It is more than a statement, it is a commitment. But we must ask ourselves, does increasing class sizes reflect that commitment? When we say we want to meet students where they are we giving educators the capacity to do so? When class sizes grow, teaching becomes less effective, not because teachers care less, but because there are simply fewer minutes and fewer opportunities to reach every student. How does a teacher meaningfully confer with, assess, and support 30 or more students in the way they can with 20? How do we expect differentiated instruction to thrive when classrooms are being stretched beyond capacity? The issue is especially serious for our students with IEPs and our English language learners. Building Brighter Futures commits CMSD to equity and access for all learners, yet larger class sizes, combined with the loss of intervention specialists, makes delivering that equity increasingly difficult. IS support is critical for helping teachers implement IEP accommodations with fidelity, scaffolding instruction for ELL students, and to respond to student data. We all know how much this district loves data. But we also must remember the students who are not formally identified, who do not have an IEP or language designation, yet still enter our classrooms with significant learning gaps. These students rely heavily on small group instruction, timely intervention, and teacher availability, supports that become harder to provide as class sizes grow and instructional support is reduced. When identified and unidentified needs are all competing for limited time and resources, achievement gaps widen, not because students are unwilling or incapable, but because support systems are stretched too thin. As a middle school teacher, especially 8th grade, high school readiness is another essential piece of building a brighter future. Foundational academic skills, confidence, and independence are developed in classrooms where teachers can provide timely feedback and targeted intervention. Are we truly preparing students for high school if they are moving through classrooms without adequate attention or support? Are we setting them up for success or for remediation later on? Building brighter futures is more than a slogan, it is a promise. Decisions about staffing and class size should reflect that promise. Investing in manageable and instructional support is an investment in equity, readiness, and student success. Like the Lorax, I am here to speak for those who cannot always speak for themselves. I urge the board to ensure that our actions align with the futures we say we are building. Building brighter futures requires more than words. It requires choices that put students first.
Lisa Ellis. Lisa Ellis.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Ellis. I am a school counselor at John Marshall High School, and I've been a counselor with CMSD for 14 years. I'm also the parent of a CMSD graduate. I'm here tonight in firm solidarity alongside all of my CTU brothers and sisters and to show my unwavering support for our students and their families. The only thing that has been in question for me over these last couple of weeks is the content of my allotted 3 minutes. Originally, I was going to argue for our invaluable paras who, despite being wholly disrespected by this last bargaining agreement and those who voted for it, show up every day for our students, forging meaningful relationships and impacting lives. They're caring colleagues who make our jobs as teachers, counselors, and administrators more manageable. Then I decided I would speak for our teachers. Teachers are my favorite people in the whole world. They spend more time with our children than anyone else. And no matter what school I have served in, 1 private and 4 within the district, I have found excellent educators doing their very best to provide joyful learning for their students. Our teachers are smart, kind, creative, committed, and adaptable. They are tireless, and they deserve so much better than what we have shown them. But then we have our school counselors, a group of educators that I am so proud to belong to. I don't even know where to begin with this one because there is so much that we do on a daily basis, things that people, including each of you, have no idea about, no understanding of. And almost every person I talk with in this district, whether it is a parent or a teacher or an administrator, does not know that there are no school counselors in any of our K-8 buildings, and there haven't been for 15 years. I guarantee that some of you were unaware of that as well. We started this school year with 39 counselors in the entire district. 2 retired, 1 resigned. You then laid off 6 of us, leaving our district of over 30,000 students with access to 30 school counselors, whose caseloads are about to balloon. Our department has been gutted, not to mention the loss of all of our incredible 5C support. We are not building anything, we are dismantling it. And if you don't know, which I do not believe you do, the breadth of essential knowledge that school counselors exclusively hold, or the extent of extremely varied work we do within our roles, I encourage you to educate yourselves because it impacts everyone. However, I know the financial issues we face aren't just a district problem, but the result of something much greater that includes a loss of state funding, the expansion of school vouchers, and the illegal way our public schools have been funded in Ohio, which has been ruled unconstitutional in this state 3 times since I graduated from high school in '97. We need change, and we demand that those in leadership who are responsible for making the vital decisions that impact our schools and everyone in them have even just some kind of a clue about what goes on in our buildings, in our offices, and in our classrooms. Because the disconnect between where you sit and where we are is vast, it is an embarrassment, and it is unsustainable. And our children and students all suffer for it. Thank you.
Roberta Cathcart.
Hello and good evening. My name is Roberta Cathcart and I'm a para at Gallagher. I've been coming to these meetings since February 2024 to publicly address how little paraprofessionals are paid despite the work that we do, and I'm honestly quite tired of it. I hope to shed light on this issue ahead of the CTU contract negotiations that took place in May of 2024. I showed that the starting salary for a para that year was $28,000. Anything under $35,000 a year is poverty wages. I pointed out that your fully staffed executive board, which consists of 10 members, again in 2024, all earned six-figure salaries plus perks. Let us never forget the infamous $1,400 massage chair. My fellow paras who couldn't attend these meetings were working their second or third jobs just to make ends meet. I wanted to believe my actions yielded positive results, but the nominal raise we got did not address the increased cost of living and left other paras eligible for government assistance. Now, here I am again in 2026 advocating for paras because some of us are losing our jobs due to layoffs. We understand that budget cuts are necessary, but some of your staff, Dr. Morgan, who don't even work directly with kids, got raises this year. The children you supposedly care so much about under your big, beautiful, building brighter futures plan are losing their beloved educators from whom they receive hands-on care. The salt on this already gaping wound is then cramming more kids into already crowded classrooms. CMSD, with all its open positions that can't even be filled by subs, leaves other classrooms to take on an absent teacher students. When multiple levels of behaviors combine and half the students are nonverbal, meaning they cannot verbalize their needs, it becomes absolute chaos and oftentimes violently so. I know this is purely anecdotal, but had you heard any of CMSD's frontline workers during your listening tours early on, you'd realize this has been an ongoing issue across the district. Ms. Ellicott, the way you treated us like children if we didn't quiet down at the work session tells me you could never make it for an hour in a classroom in this district. You threatened to withhold presentation and proceed with the vote, a hollow threat, since behind that cruel smile you failed to hide, you already knew the layoffs would be approved whether or not the public viewed the slide deck. One last question, Dr. Morgan. Was it coincidence that your BBF initiative was introduced on November 5th, the day after the city of Cleveland voted to pass issue 49 to raise roughly $49 million annually for CMSD, or was that just foreshadowing for the lack of transparency that was yet to come?
Lakeisha Tuggle.
I'll wait on Kevin, class. Open your red folders, please. Good evening. Good evening, stakeholders, Board of Education, Cleveland residents, and my fellow CTU members. I had to be reminded that just like Shantae, I got a man at home and upstairs, so I'm gonna be okay during this layoff. But a lot of my colleagues won't, so I'm gonna stand in the gap for them. Be wise and save lives. Choices carry consequences. In November, serious concerns were raised about including LPN positions within the BBF plan. Those concerns were not theoretical. They were grounded in the real, daily medical needs of our most vulnerable and chronically ill students that you all don't know. The very week that layoff notices went out, 2 incidents occurred. A scholar on the west side was not treated according to his care plan, and a scholar on the east side was not treated according to hers. That is not coincidence. Those are red flag warnings. One made the news, and one I helped take care of myself. You should never cut corners on student health and wellness. The stakes are too high, and the risk is not worth it. Cleveland's kids deserve a health care system that is thorough, responsive, and accurate, not one where they are overlooked and undertreated. The problem, a 1 nurse per building model does not meet the reality of our student population. Our students rely on school health clinics for chronic conditions, daily concerns, and situations that begin at home, but end up arriving at our doorsteps to resolve. It never has been, and it never will be enough. What responsible stewardship requires? At minimum, this district needs a float pool to support immunizations, ETRs, mandatory screenings, field trips, and community health visits. Float coverage for your FMLA-approved nurse absences and their daily absences too. A dedicated diabetic nurse and a neurological nurse to oversee the growing volume of students managing diabetes and seizures. Ensuring care plans are current and properly implemented across every building. Our ask, if restoring all 15 LPN positions is not possible, we urge this board to commit to preserving a minimum of 5 to 10. Bring us back. This is not a number on a spreadsheet, because you know y'all like data. It is the difference between a student in crisis receiving care or not. Be wise and save lives, because every decision made in this room shows up in the care our students receive next school year. Be wise and save lives, because if we fail these students by choice, we must be prepared to own the consequences that supersede. In your folder, you'll also find some data points where I talked about field trips and the 504 Rehabilitation Act of 1973. We have to have these. We have to have certain staff members in certain places and positions. I put the data in there and I redacted their names and schools. Thank you.
Frank Gregonis.
Hello, I'm an English teacher in the CMSD and have been so for 25 years. I still am. I'm not here tonight for myself. I would like to thank Dr. Morgan for coming to our remote high school and hearing our concerns. He didn't have to do that. Now, as an English teacher, I have my favorite works of literature, the Iliad, Hamlet, and more recently this particular work, What's Wrong with This Picture? I have to say there's a lot wrong with this picture, the CMSD picture. Now, I've never spoken at a board meeting. I told myself that as an English teacher, I'm too busy. However, as I watched a video of the last board meeting, I was transmogrified. So I requested to speak to you this evening. At the last meeting, this board unanimously approved massive layoffs of teachers and administrators, those who have chosen to work directly with students. Yet no teachers, students, or parents were permitted to speak at that meeting. What's wrong with that picture? It doesn't concern me that that's the tradition or that was what was on the agenda. It was wrong. Now, there are basically two kinds of staff, those who have chosen to work directly with students and those who have done everything to avoid doing so. Now, there are those who do not work directly with students who are essential. Secretaries, tech experts, custodians, all essential. Nurses are essential. And then there are those who provide value but are not as necessary. Our research and experience indicates that many of those positions reside downtown. Legal teams, curriculum committees, comprised of those who have zero or very little teaching experience. Yet they're not laid off. Most of the layoffs target those who have chosen to work directly with students. What's wrong with that picture? For example, at our high school, we're losing our 5C, Mrs. Walker. She works directly with students. I have a list of her duties, but I don't have nearly enough time to read them. It's everything from teaching PACE to coordinating on-site work experiences, to helping students determine career paths, to organizing prom, homecoming. She is essential. She works with students. Yet many who have chosen not to are retaining their jobs. What is wrong with this picture?
Thank you, Mr. Gorgonis. That concludes public participation. Next, we will have our consent agenda items followed by discussion of non-consent agenda resolutions and followed by the goals and guardrails presentations that are coming up. This evening's consent agenda includes the minutes of the last board meeting, 2 finance resolutions, 1 operations resolution, 1 academic resolution, 1 legal resolution, and 5 excellence and culture resolutions. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of agenda items 4.02 through 9.05 as set forth in the board meeting agenda. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll on this motion?
Sure, Ms. Alakad,
Yes.
Mr. Billups,
Yes.
Mr. Briggs,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Pastor Jones,
Yes.
Ms. LeBron,
Yes.
Ms. Peak,
Yes.
Dr. Sridhar, yes, Ms. Welch-Howell,
Yes.
9 votes. Motion
Thank you.
carries.
The motion passes, the minutes are approved, and these resolutions are adopted. Next, we have 4 resolutions that board members have requested to remove from the consent agenda so that the board can have an opportunity to discuss each resolution before voting on it. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 10.01, authorizing the soliciting of proposals at public auction of school district properties no longer needed for school district purposes, as provided for in Ohio Revised Code Section 3312.41.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Jones. Thank you, Ms. LeBron. Dr. Morgan, could we have an explanation of this resolution, and then we'll move on to board member questions?
Yes, with this resolution, the board will be authorizing the holding of a public auction of the vacant property where the former John D. Rockefeller School was previously located. And as questions come up, we do have our Chief Operations Officer, Karen Thompson, in the audience if there are questions.
Thank you. I see Mr. Briggs with a question. Mr. Briggs?
Excuse me. My question was simply,
Mr. Briggs, could you try to speak up?
my question is, the appraisal is dated,
Mr. Briggs, I'm sorry. I'm going to pause until it looks like some folks are leaving. So we'll let the folks who are currently leaving leave so that we can have better audio in the room. As I said at the beginning, we will try to conduct this meeting. If we have too much disruption for people to be heard when they're asking questions or answering them, We will adjourn. Mr. Briggs, could you repeat your question? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
My question is simply, the appraisal in the resolution is about 6 years old. And I wonder if it would make sense to get an updated appraisal before we go forward.
Okay, all right. So we entertained that when we met with our real estate transactional attorney. It was in 2020. It was appraised at $160,000. It's vacant land that the district currently owns. An average appraisal, and this is in a neighborhood, we didn't have any comparative, an average appraisal will cost us about $3,500. And because it had gone in front of the first, it went into charter when it became property available. Then it went into 2 RFQs for development, and we didn't get any takers. And so we had inquiry from the city that there was somebody interested in it. It is in a residential area. It's in an area where there hasn't been growth. And so we thought it was a great opportunity. And so on the recommendation from our council, it was we shouldn't get another appraisal because it would probably net either neutral or less.
It was, in my experience, it would seem to me that the original appraiser would simply do an update for much less price than the original price.
We can take that back and see, but when we reached out through our outside counsel, that was not an option on the table. But we can take that back, Mr. Briggs.
Thank you.
Mr. Billups?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. I just had one quick question. You just mentioned, Chief Thompson, that the lack of comparables to the for sale, I don't know what to call it, parcel or lot. Is that because of the size of this particular lot that's for sale?
In terms of an auction?
For comparables. I think you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you just mentioned that there was a lack of comparables in the residential area.
In the area.
Is that because it's such a large lot being in the residential area, or is there some other factor that plays into that?
It's just not that there's not been a lot of development in that area. Usually you can look and kind of get an estimate. And so that's why we received the guidance to go with this. I would also be remiss if I didn't point out, we can take no less. Like, we do not have the authority to go less than what the asking amount is, $160,000. If it comes in less than that, we would come back to you as the board for that consideration. But hopefully we would come back and say it's higher, but we will go no less than 160.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Thompson.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, so to my understanding, although the appraisal was a few years back, our outside counsel believes that it would probably be the same amount or less, plus we would have to incur a cost in order to do a new appraisal.
Yes, and yes, that's a great summary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions. Is there any other discussion? Dr. Morgan, did you have a comment? All right. Dr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll on this motion?
Sure, Ms. Ellicott?
Yes.
Mr. Billups?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Respectfully, no.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Pastor Jones?
Yes.
Ms. LeBron?
Yes.
Ms. Peak?
Yes.
Dr. Sridhar, yes. Ms. Welchhow?
Yes.
8 votes, 1 no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. The resolution is adopted. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 10.02, adopting revised, sorry, I want to make sure that this is the correct resolution. Mr. Bertzloff, can you confirm that this should be Resolution 7?
10.02, adopting revised community school sponsorship policy. If any
I'm going to refresh my board
Just
docs.
refresh. It works.
Okay, thank you. I know things have moved around a little bit. I want to make sure we have the right resolution.
10.02.
Okay, I see, yes. With the refreshed board docs, that makes sense. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 10.02, adopting revised community school sponsorship policies. Dr. Moore, is there a motion? Thank you, Ms. Welch-Howell. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Pastor Jones. Dr. Morgan, could we have an explanation of this resolution?
Yes, this is a resolution, and the next two resolutions deal with our district's partnership with our community schools, our charter schools. I will have Matt Rado, who is our Executive Director of Charter Schools and Alternative Programs, come up just to give a brief explanation about this resolution specifically, but then also to address any questions that there may be.
Good evening, Chair Ellicott, Dr. Morgan. So the first resolution that you're referencing on the sponsorship policies, it's a best practice for us as a community school sponsor to have board-approved policies. We last reviewed those in 2018. And so for this resolution, essentially we're doing things like changing the name of the old Department of Education name to the current name. And there's some sort of minor formatting changes and things like that. But mostly it's that we haven't looked at it since 2018, and so I wanted to re-review it and make a few tweaks and then have it be officially approved.
Thank you. I see no discussion. I did want to pull this for that explanation because I didn't have it in advance, so thank you for that. Is there any further discussion? All right. Dr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll on this motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Welch-Howell.
Just sort of a broader question, as you're kind of reopening this from looking at it in 2018, are there any substantive changes that you or your team are going to sort of explore as you think about revisiting this?
There were not. So everything we do as a community school authorizer, we look to, obviously there's legal and contractual requirements, but we also look through something called the state's sponsor evaluation rubric, which says that there's certain things that we should have in our policies. And so, we re-reviewed all of those, and we looked, fortunately, this is something that the state hasn't actually really changed that much. They kind of got this right in terms of their expectations for what they want sponsors to have, and so we really didn't have to change anything. I don't think we really will in the future, unless the state were to change their expectations.
Just one follow-up, and Dr. Morgan, this might be more for you, but just maybe a push, and this is a catalyst to do so, just our sort of overall strategy around sponsorship of non-CMSD schools. I'd just love to understand kind of how we think about that today versus maybe how we thought about it in 2018. I understand that might be maybe slightly outside of the scope of the review that you're doing, but I'd just like to understand that a little bit better.
Yeah, we can definitely bring those back to you, Ms. Welch-Howell. And, it's customary that when we are bringing different community charter schools up for renewal, we do bring them in, we do a review of data, but it is a good, it's time for us to do a refresh, take a look at some of those different things, and we can bring that information back to you as well.
Mr. Billups?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. And I just want to preface this. I certainly was not on the board in 2018, but I do want to ask a couple questions around how I just recall this time last year looking at some of the numbers as far as the charter schools math scores in comparison to our districts, and I think about how do we have that accountability for the charter schools to be at least at the same standard of our school district when it comes to educating students in the city of Cleveland.
And Mr. Rado, before you answer that in more detail, Shirley, then I do want to say that, I think I hear the question, Mr. Billups, and I think that the intent with some of the charter partnerships was in order for the district to be able to hold them more accountable, knowing that at the time of the Cleveland plan, they were a part of the city strategy. And I think that that's a really important question. I'd love to hear more about sort of the mechanics of it.
So I think what you're asking is really important, and it gets more to the schools that we are what's called the authorizer or the sponsor for, which is not, these policies obviously kind of guide that work, but we don't have anything on the agenda tonight in terms of making any of those high stakes decisions or anything around accountability. But your question gets to the good point, which is our number one most important job with those schools that we authorize is accountability. And you might recall we did have some renewals previously, and I expect that we might again next year. But I think that's a very good point. It's our most important job as the sponsor or authorizer of those schools to hold them accountable for results, which if you look into any of the contracts, which those are on the agenda tonight, but there aren't any contract extensions. It's more of just updating legal citations. If you look in there, you'll see what I mean when I talk about high stakes accountability. And then for the ones tonight, in terms of the partnership one, there's a really strict criteria that the board approved at the end of 2018 around charters that are eligible to be partners, in that they have to be in the top third for all district and charter schools in the city over 3 years. And so as a result of that criteria, there's a number of schools over the years that we have cut off from getting access to levy funds due to not meeting that standard anymore.
Thank you. I have one more question, Chair Ellicott.
Yeah, go ahead.
My next, well, less of a question, but as we move forward, I would certainly be interested in data or impact, particularly pertaining to our students with disabilities, our English language learners that are educated in our charter schools, how they are being educated, to what quality they're being educated.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Rito, if you have a response for that, you can. And then also I take that as, we can take that. I would love to bring that data back and also share that. Specifically what Mr. Rito said on accountability, that's been really important to us because as we're holding ourselves, or you guys are holding us accountable to the board goals and guardrails, it's really important that we have a network of schools and also high quality schools within the system that are all meeting that standard as well. But Mr. Rito, I don't know if there's any specific questions.
So for the schools that we are the sponsor or authorizer, which again, tonight's resolution on that is just approving updates. But if you look at the accountability framework, which is called attachment 4 in there, we have the state's report card gap closing metric, which is what the report card metric is that tries to put extra attention around what you're talking about. We also have pulled out some of the metrics just about subgroup performance, because the gap closing metric actually, for some reason that I don't understand, also includes chronic absenteeism. So we look at what you're talking about on that. And then for the partner schools, there is, if you've looked at some of the application materials from the past or the agreements, you'll see that we do have extra emphasis around demographics. And that was a thing that also came in 2018 when the Transformation Alliance reviewed the application, reviewed the criteria, recommended to the board that we put more emphasis around that. So if you look at those agreements, you'll see that there's a lot in there now where we are, if there's certain sort of triggers around their numbers, there's a lot of things that we want to see before we can say we're comfortable sharing levy funds and being a partner with you.
Mr. Rito, could you actually go ahead and explain the difference between the couple of different statuses of charter schools that fall, I would say loosely, within the district umbrella between sponsored, partner, and endorsed?
So there's two really, and they both are called partners legally, but when the Cleveland plan happened, it created something in the revised code, which it can be used anywhere on the state, but Cleveland's the only district where we have this, which is partnership. And the idea is essentially we either are signing an agreement with you that says we endorse each other, and you receive access to a set of levy funds from the recent levies that is just for those schools. And then we also include your report card data in our overall results. And so that was a Cleveland plan concept that the state legislature put into law. The other way that you could be considered a partner, and again, you get the same thing in terms of sharing of levy funds, combining report card data, is through a sponsorship contract. And that's where it gets to really that high stakes accountability, where we are making a decision about opening a school, we are making a decision about whether a school should stay open. That's not what we're, asking anyone to make any decisions on tonight. Tonight is really just the 5 schools that are out there that we've had a relationship with, most of them for a while, where they get some of that local levy funds, and their report card data is part of ours.
Thank you. Yeah, we know we're not making that decision. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So we have been discussing Resolution 10.02, which is adopting the revised community school sponsorship policies. I want to take that back to, that is simply about the policies, right, and the change in the Ohio.
For the schools
in the
that we
Ohio
sponsor.
State Department of Education and
Yes.
some of the minimal formatting changes that you mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Briggs, did you have another question? Mic on?
Excuse me, I have several questions, but they really apply to the next resolution. I
Sure.
can't
Okay,
wait
we'll
until-
hold off until the next resolution. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I'm sorry, I keep calling you Mr. Dr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll on this motion?
Sure, Ms. Alakad?
Yes.
Mr. Billups?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Pastor Jones?
Yes.
Ms. LeBron?
Yes.
Ms. Peak?
Yes.
Ms. Welch-Howell?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. 9 votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. Resolution 10.02 is adopted. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 10.03, adopting agreements with nonprofit community schools established under Ohio Revised Code Chapter 3314, whereby the Cleveland Municipal School District and community schools endorse each other's programs. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Pastor Jones, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Billups. Dr. Morgan and Mr. Rado, could you please explain this resolution for us?
I don't know if I should talk before Mr. Briggs has a question.
Please explain it, and then we'll move on to the
So
questions.
this resolution is for that first category of schools I was talking about, and the language around endorsing each other's programs, that comes directly from the state law from 2012. But essentially what this is saying that these schools have met our board criteria. They've gone through an application process. 3 of these 5 are existing partners that we are extending agreements because they continue to meet our standards. The other 2 went through an application process that began this winter, and a review team reviewed their submissions, looked at their data they provided, and is recommending, because they met our standards on different parts of the application, that they be approved to be partners.
Thank you. Mr. Briggs?
Thank you, Chair Alquad. Several questions. What are the advantages to CMSD? I understand the advantages to the charter schools, but what are the advantages to us?
So I would kind of have to think back to when the Cleveland Plan was created, around what this was trying to foster. And one of those ideas was that we would try to have a mutual interest. It's the Cleveland, I always say it's the Cleveland Plan, not the CMSD plan. It was about the city looking at the overall public education landscape and saying that we want to make sure that every neighborhood has high quality options, has high quality schools. And from the city perspective, we're not really that interested in what the governance of that is. So that's where they created this partnership concept. I think, honestly, going back to the Cleveland Plan, there was a strong sense that this would be able to help create relationships where we could tackle some problems together, and I don't know that it has played out the way we wanted to. But I would say essentially that it means that we have a positive relationship, we can collaborate when we need to, and if there's issues that come up, we can help each other with those. I would say on the really basic level, the way that it was set up was the report card data goes into our overall district report card, and because of the standards we have around these schools, that has traditionally benefited the district report card.
Would you say that they compete with us in any way?
I think the idea with the Cleveland, one of the ideas of the Cleveland Plan was that this would lessen that spirit. Part of this application process is that obviously we have, everyone has self-interest in different ways, but that the schools that go through this application process with us, they are committing in part of this agreement to collaborating with us in different ways. So we may, and we have over the years with different schools, done joint professional development. We've brought folks from different buildings into each other's buildings to support each other with different initiatives. So there's been examples of things like that over the years that we've been able to do because of this.
Excuse me, the final question is, how have each of these schools performed in the last 3 years compared to CMSD?
So for the purposes, so the criteria for partners around academics for K-8s is that you've had to have been in the top third for performance index for the 3 most recent years. So, and then for the high schools, you have to have been above the national average graduation rate. So all 5 of these, whether they're K-8 or high school, meet that. There are absolutely CMSD high schools and K-8 schools that are in the top third in the district. But for the purposes of this criteria, we don't compare it to the overall district. We look at, are you in the top third of all this types of schools based on, you know, the grades that you offer.
But we will follow up. We'll get you the information just comparatively. We've done that before, just seeing like where they are comparatively, and we can get that information for you.
But that information, thank you, Dr. Morgan. It is important that we get complete information. That does feel, I would like to hear more about the standards that the charters have to meet in order to be eligible. I heard that they have to be above the national graduation rate. You said something else, and I didn't quite hear it at the
charter schools.
Within the top third of charter schools regionally or in the city?
So they have to be, for K-8s, they have to be in the top third for performance index of district and charter schools over that 3-year period. There's also a residency requirement where they have to have at least 80% CMSD students. And
80%?
80%, yes. And that's around, that actually came from when Say Yes came to Cleveland, and they wanted to put resources where they were going to help Cleveland kids. That's why that criteria was created.
Okay. What about, so Mr. Billups, I believe, had asked about, I guess what I would call special populations, special education students, English language learners. What standards do the charters have to meet in order to, in those areas, and how they serve those students in order to be affiliated with us?
So just first, they have to follow all the same state and federal laws when it comes to special education. I would say as a part of this process, that application update in 2018 really built out the sections around demographics so that if there's numbers that they don't hit in terms of comparison to the schools around them or to the national special education rate, then there's additional things they have to provide to us. And I guess I would say that sort of the evidence around how we've implemented that is that, you know, we've had 2 different application cycles in recent years, and we have not approved schools because of their responses to concerns around those.
You said we have not approved?
We have not.
Yeah.
There's some that have applied that we have not brought for recommendation because of our concerns around that data.
Thank you. And I know I have asked about this in past years, but around discipline of students and data around racial demographics of that discipline, I know we've talked about that in the context of sponsored charters. Is there anything around any of that with these partnerships?
So there is language in there that we have looked at before around reporting requirements. And we also, you know, the agreements are structured in a way that it gives us a lot of leeway if we have some concerns that aren't addressed adequately by the schools, that we do not have to renew a school, or if we have concerns on the front side, we don't have to approve a school. But it's mostly around reporting data that is broken down demographically like you're saying.
Thank you. I see Mr. Billups' light on. I believe you were first or next.
Thank you, Chair Licott. I just have one other question, and you kind of asked half of it, but as far as is the charter schools, do they have selective enrollment? Do kids have to test? Do they have special requirements, or are they allowed to have any special requirements to allow Cleveland students to attend?
So as far as I'm aware, of the schools that we have relationships with, none of them do. There is one school that we are not affiliated with in Cleveland that does have, that's a gifted charter school, that is allowed under state law to have criteria around being selective. But otherwise the answer is no. Unless there's an allowable reason in the law and they put it in their contract, then they're not allowed to.
Mr. Briggs?
One more question. Excuse me. Are they entitled to vouchers as well?
The students or?
Well, the parents for the students.
I am not an expert on all the different eligibility for vouchers. I would think that many of the parents that send their kids to these schools are eligible, and so they are choosing to send their kids to those schools, which are funded mostly by state funding, and then also some local and some federal, depending on which school it is.
Mr. Rado, I'm sorry, I didn't hear part of what you said. Could you repeat that?
So the question was around the parents' eligibility for vouchers, which I would think
Yeah.
generally they are eligible to get those. But in terms of like the schools themselves and how they're funded, it's mostly state funding. And then for the schools that we have a relationship with, there is some local funding. And then there's, of course, federal funding as well.
Right, but families use vouchers to go to private schools.
Yes, that's right.
And the state
Yeah.
takes public money and uses it for vouchers.
That's right.
So
yeah.
that isn't really applicable to charters,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Although the students technically would be eligible to use them if they wanted to go to a private school.
They, I would
I
think
think that's
most of
what
them
you're
would be
saying.
at this point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you shared exactly what I was going to share, that, all students families are eligible, even ours that live here, are eligible to use vouchers to go to private schools. But just like ours, you can't use a voucher to go to a CMSD school. The same thing with public charters as well. They're free tuition schools.
Thank you. Ms. Welch-Howell, followed by Dr. Schroeder.
Thanks. So kind of in keeping with the question I asked with the last resolution, and I apologize in advance, I'm probably going to ask this a little bluntly, but outside of the impact to the report card, like what happens if we stop doing this? Like if we stop this program, like what am I not thinking about? It feels like the benefit is sort of imbalanced.
So it depends on whether you're talking about the sponsored schools or the partnered schools. The sponsored schools would have to find a new sponsor for them to remain open. The partner schools would lose access to that money, and I could not tell you how it would work effectively, because essentially the levies that have been passed have set aside money for this. But the reality is that no, we do not have to partner with any schools, but the levies have approved a set of funds available to do that.
So that's helpful, but just if I may, just respectfully, I mean to CMSD scholars, like if we stop doing this, is there capacity that we could deck against something more directly for BBF or anything that's not?
And I wanted to make sure I was tracking your question, but generally, yeah, what Mr. Rado shared, if it would be a benefit, it would impact them more than it would impact in terms of the operations of the district. We do not get their students rolled up in our enrollment, so we don't get extra dollars for them. There are some districts when you partner with charters, they're actually including your enrollment numbers. They also aren't included, they actually are included in our accountability numbers. So we do,
In the overall
we
report
do
card,
get,
yes.
for our partner charters, when we get our academic data roll up, we do get some of that rolled up. Now, as you saw from the data we just shared recently, our schools, our CMSD schools are outgrowing in terms of the growth. Last year, we had more growth than most of our partner charters. It didn't mean that the proficiency was necessarily higher. Some of our partner districts did have higher proficiency, but we are tracking this. And one of the things we've looked at, when this partnership first started, which preceded many of us, there was a time that these schools were performing a lot better, growing a lot higher, and due to the hard work that we've been doing, we're not seeing that. So I think it's something we need to continue to assess and look at, and continue to ask the tough questions and see what's important for this. We do know that to have a strong ecosystem of schools here in Cleveland, we want to make sure that there are strong quality schools. So for those ones that are partner schools to us, we do monitor their academics very closely. And that's one of the things that when they have to come before this board to be renewed, I know that not only do you guys ask those questions, but Mr. Rado's team is actually asking those questions to even see if it's even something we would recommend for renewal. And there have been some charter schools recently we have not recommended for renewal.
Yep. It's one thing, and I'm sorry, I'm like pulling out this last question, that I think it would just be helpful to see is just how much capacity is being decked to like running this program, and then what are some other best uses of time? Would be helpful. Thank you.
Dr. Schroeder?
So this is along similar lines to the questions that have already been asked. So I spent just a few minutes looking on the website trying to find where we can get a list of all the schools that the district does partner with and does sponsor. I put my light on during the previous discussion asking where could I find it, but then I found it later on. It took me a while, so that's my point, right? So I think that I have 2 points, and this is not, I'm not looking for an answer here. I'm looking for changes to the website in the next few days. The 2 changes, one change is making it easier to find these in the first place, but then alongside that, include more of the accountability statistics that we're talking about here. So I recall from a couple of years ago when what you just referenced now, where some of these agreements came up for review. We received a whole lot of information that was public information. It was posted on the board website. I don't see why that information could not stay on the CMSD website, because that becomes an accountability measure in 2 ways, right? One, if this is a strong partner school that we can learn from, putting that up there gives us motivation to make sure that we're getting there. But then, like you pointed out, Dr. Morgan, our district schools are performing better than many of these charter schools. So I think showing that is also an important thing. So that's the change I'm asking for. So if you could actually, bring back that at some point, that'll be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sridhar, I do want to mention that I looked it up just now, and it looks like we do list the report cards for the partner charters on the website, but I hear you that we should hear the call about like some of the data that we see at the board level when we are renewing the agreements might be helpful to have. All right.
So just a note on that too, though, for the schools that we sponsor, there is an annual report that we do put on there that is required to be posted, that we do share, and that is just, again, the ones that we sponsor. And it does have more detail along all the different sort of like oversight and compliance pieces that you might be thinking of.
Thank you, Mr. Rado. Is there any further discussion? All right, I'm going to just pause for a moment to ask our attorney, Mr. Bertzloff, a procedural question. Thank you, Mr. Rado. Dr. Morgan, what I'm hearing on, particularly Resolution 10.04, is that the board needs more information, and I don't want to, I don't want to put you in a position where we vote no and we haven't been able to consider the repercussions or what the transition would be or anything like that. So I do want to make a motion to table Resolution 10.04 and return to it in old business at the next board meeting.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Moving forward, that brings us to our monthly monitoring of goals and guardrails, which I will turn over to the CEO to discuss Goal 3, college readiness, and then discuss staffing updates.
Excuse me, Chair. I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Briggs?
I think we need to vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We do need to vote. Thank you.
And actually,
yeah.
Procedural question on that. Is the motion to table 10.02, 03, and 04?
I'm asking for a motion to table only 10.04.
So we are passing 02 and 03. Is that I'm asking the question.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
We're tabling 10.03 and 10.04.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're
That's
only,
why you're the pro tem treasurer.
so the vote is to approve the policies themselves, but then any of the actual agreements, either new agreements to whatever, look at the quality as well as the renewals, we are tabling.
I'm going to look at Mr. Bertzloff, who's raising his hand at me.
Excuse me, Madam. The 10.02 approving policies, the board already voted
Yes.
and passed. So currently 10.03 is before you, and I believe that the motion is to table 10.03 and 10.04.
Okay, so do we need to vote on them each in their own turn, or can we? Okay, so I want to clarify that I move to table motions 10.03 and 10.04. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Sridhar, will you please call the roll on this motion?
Sure. Ms. Ellicott?
Yes.
Mr. Billups?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Pastor Jones?
Yes.
Ms. LeBron? Yes. Ms. Peak?
Yes.
Ms. Welchow? Yes. And I vote yes as well. 9 votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. All right, now we will move to monthly monitoring of goals and guardrails and Building Brighter Futures updates.
All right, thank you, Chair Ellicott. I want to do the Building Brighter Futures progress monitoring update first, but I first want to ground it. I know we have many people that have left, but we have several that are still here. First, with just grounding in this moment of where we are. I hear the comments, I hear the passion, all warranted, and so definitely understand the passion that is in this room, definitely have seen the work of this community of what we collectively do for our scholars every day. It is tough when we're talking about families, when we're talking about lives. As I've shared to people I've talked to, not only do I know people personally impacted by this, colleagues, people that I've worked with in the past, friends who were personally impacted in this, I've dealt with this before as well. So I know that this is not easy. I know when my father lost his job, and my mom lost her job, how that changed our family's circumstances. I've talked to you guys before about how my whole senior year, we lived in a hotel. So I know what this means. I also know what's at stake for kids. And I want to ground this in our scholars. I know many of you guys have heard me talk about the scholar I spoke to who attends John Adams High School. A couple of years ago, she graduated in 2024. When she described the education she's receiving, how she didn't have opportunities to take college and career readiness courses. They're deemed a college and career ready school, but didn't have access to those classes. And she shared, and I know I shared this at my State of the School, she shared, just because we live in a low poverty area doesn't mean we deserve a low poverty education. And when I think about the kids we all serve, looking across here, the black and brown kids we serve, majority black, kids that look just like me. When I said I do this work for kids like me, this is personal. This is personal. Yes, it is very personal. It is very personal when we do not provide the access to programs for our scholars. What education can they have? When we don't provide opportunity for them, what can we have? Now I hear the questions of, if we're letting staff go, how can we provide these opportunities and access? We know that through the process of the work that we're going to do collectively together, our scholars will have more access. Right now, yes. Right now, one of the things, and I understand the passion, and I understand the work that we have to do ahead of us. But I do want to share some different things of where we are right now. We talked about the goals of Building Brighter Futures is twofold. We want to ensure that every kid has access to a high-quality education while improving our financial sustainability. I'm going to talk about our finances in a moment because there were questions about that. And also I'll address some of the pathways we're doing moving forward. I know I've been meeting with President Savage every day because I know just like me, he is committed to ensuring that we provide not only a high-quality education for our scholars, but also supporting our educators. And both him and I are committed to that. So we've been meeting every day, really figuring out what we can do to mitigate where we are with this. But I want to bring us back to the plan of Building Brighter Futures. It has two goals: to increase educational outcomes for all students while at the same time putting our district on a pathway to financial sustainability. You guys have seen this over and over again. We know right now, currently, yes, and it bears repeating, because currently right now, not every high school provides college and career access. That means there are kids in our system right now that just by the nature of the school they walk into, they don't have opportunity to college and career access programs. We know for the kids we serve, when we don't provide them a high quality education, out there are not opportunities for them. Oftentimes for the kids we serve, what is left out there for them are not jobs. Sometimes it ends them up in the prison system. Sometimes it ends them up, fortunately, in death. And I told you when I was an educator and a principal, I buried many young men who lost their lives to gun violence. We've seen that happen in our system. This is a matter of life or death for our kids. So all the pain we feel in the system right now, in this room, I understand that. And there are many kids and families that are hurting. There are generations of families that we have hurt in this community because we have not provided a high quality education. This did not just happen. This has happened for years, decades. We are in a moment now where we have an opportunity to do something. We've talked about these numbers. I'm not going to go over these numbers, but we know in the fall, 100% of our high schools will have college credit offered in school. 100% of our high schools will have career pathways. Now I know Ms. LeBron has asked this question, will there be equitable access across the board? No, we will still have inequities because there are going to still be some schools that offer more college credit and more career pathways. We have work to do. But we know that there's a chance that we are giving kids. And as much pain as we feel in this room, which there is a lot of pain in this room, there is pain in our community, pain in our kids, and we have to deliver that brighter future for our kids. There's too much at stake. And so when I say that this is important and we're in an important moment in time, an important moment of history, we will work through what we need to do for the adults in this room, to provide the supports, to provide the landing places. Many of us in this room, we have our education. Some of us grew up in the same circumstances as our kids, and guess what? We've had the privilege to make it. I talked about my circumstances. I've had the privilege to have degrees and have a job and make it. Many of our kids, if they're not provided that opportunity, who is to say what they will have? So I will say it again. I'm passionate about this work because it means a lot. The stakes are way too high. It's way too high. Yes, I know you know it. That's why you're here. That's why you're here, because you're passionate about it, and I appreciate that. So when we talk about where we are for our scholars, you guys have also seen this. These are for the kids whose schools are actually closing, the opportunities that they will have, expanded opportunities, opportunities we're not able to provide them today. So we know that this is truly going to provide the beginning of providing access and more opportunities for our scholars. So I do want to talk about factors that we must address, and I hear some of the questions about finances, and I do want to talk through some of those. So there's another one that I know you guys have seen over and over again. Chief Stockdale has presented it. We have to present what is now to the state a 4-year forecast twice a year. I know you guys have heard me say this, that when I came in this system in 2023, we entered into fiscal precaution with the state because our finances were not in the right place. That was what we walked into in 2023. And we know that when a district is in fiscal precaution, the district can be taken over by the state. There are districts that are taken over by the state. Currently, we know Youngstown is one of those systems. East Cleveland just moved out of state receivership. Cleveland used to be in state receivership in the late 90s. So we were in fiscal precaution when I first entered in as CEO of this district. Through the measures we've taken, I'm going to share those with you in a moment, we exited fiscal precaution. But we're also in a moment now that even with the work we've done through Building Brighter Futures to close and consolidate, merge our 29 schools that we're going to do, that if there were not additional measures we were taking, we could enter into fiscal precaution come the fall. Just this fall, we could enter into fiscal precaution again. And one of the things we've worked hard to do to say is we would not enter into fiscal precaution again. I also want to note this red box that is circled, that is highlighted here, shows that we are currently running on a deficit. We are running a district on a deficit, and it will continue to run on a deficit if we do not take measures to do that. Yes, there's work we can continue to do measures, but there's work we have to collectively do together so that we can also provide the brighter future that we're talking about for our scholars. So I did want to share this chart for you guys. I know I've explained this before, that when we submit our 4-year forecast to the state, we need to be in the black for the current year and in the black for 2 fiscal years out. So if you're looking at the fiscal year 26, which we are currently in, we're in the black at the bottom for unencumbered cash. We're in the black for fiscal year 27, and we're in the black for fiscal year 28. In August, we will be in fiscal year 27. If we didn't take the measures that we're taking, that the board voted on last week, As you can see, in fiscal year 29, we would be in a $49.1 million deficit for our unencumbered cash. So that is why it's necessary for us to do the work that we're doing now, so that when Chief Stockdale submits our 5-year forecast, our 4-year forecast in August, we will have a district that's on a pathway to financial sustainability. I heard one of the commenters say, what happens after that? There is more work that needs to be done. We've talked about that. We've talked about it, and a big part of this, I'm going to share this a little bit later on in the presentation, is the work we have to continue to do to advocate at the state level. We know that if we were fully funded through the Fair School Funding Formula, we would have $157 million right now over the course of 2 years. Our deficit is $150 million over 3 years. So just if we were funded alone by the Fair School Funding Formula, if we received all the money we received at the state, we wouldn't even have to do this. But that shows the work that we have to continue to do to advocate while also taking measures. Speaking of taking measures, I want to share with you the work we have done over time. So you are asking what we've done to cut. This is work showing that over the past 3 school years, what we've done. That first year, that steep slope that you're seeing that's going down, that was what our finances were looking like in the 23-24 school year. Each year, we've taken measures to level out our finances so that over time, we would have a balanced budget. On this chart, you see we are still not at 0 on the graph, means we are not at a balanced budget, but you can see that slope has decreased, and we almost are at a flat line to getting to that 0. Definitely will be great to get above, but this shows the measures we've taken. We've also talked about the majority of our budget being almost 80% in salary and benefits. This is the majority of what our budget is. And you know, there are other areas of where our budget is, but the majority of our budget is in our people. And we've talked about that if we were going to save the dollars that we're looking at saving, there are measures we could take to do some of the operational work, buildings, leases, contracts, all those different things if we put provisions on to work. But it wasn't going to yield us the savings that we need because the majority of our resources are in people. Now, I don't want to bore you with this chart, but it is really important to talk about some of the provisions we've taken. I want to remind you of my very first State of the Schools address that I delivered in 2023, where I announced at that time, one, that we had some work to do. I announced that we would be entering into fiscal precaution at that time. I also announced, and I'd only been in, I'd actually just finished up my 100-day listening tour that many people reference to, which, by the way, most of the things that were said, this is not about me, so I will not go into the different things that were said. People have their opinion, but I've never called a school failing. When we walk through a school, that is not what I see when I see a building. I see opportunity, I see our scholars, I see the hard work our educators are doing. But I will say that in 2023, we announced that we would do a 10% reduction in central office, of which we did 12.6. We exceeded that. Trying to save, cut from positions that were not directly with students first. That was the first time there had been a reduction of force since 2011. We also submitted our deficit reduction plan in February. And then in May, the board adopted a resolution to to go out for a levy because we knew that we would need to bring more resources in. In the 24-25 school year, we lost, at the beginning of that year, we lost ESSER funds. That was about $500 million that we used over several years to actually plug some of our deficit, and those federal dollars were going away. In November, taxpayers voted once again, but for the first time for combined historic bond and operating levy that brought resources into the system. But we shared then it wasn't going to fill the gap completely. It did help, but it didn't fill the gap completely. Last school year, we also took a measure to consolidate from 5 calendars to 1 calendar, saving $27 million over 3 years. I'm sharing these different measures because these were measures we were taking to bring in more resources, to cut dollars. We put also restrictions and provisions on things such as, I know it's a hot topic, but things like furniture, things like travel, all those different things, from things that we've heard feedback on, we've put restrictions on, particularly in that first year and that second year. We did that to help with the work that we're doing on, yes, and guess what, there weren't any provisions before we got here, but those questions came when I got here, and we put provisions in place once I got here. So one of the things we've done is continue to reduce those measures and also make sure we were protecting our general fund. Of course, this year we did the work of building brighter futures. And with that work, this is going to help right-size our district given our current enrollment. And speaking of enrollment, I do want to remind you of this slide. I want to remind you of this slide And actually, I'm going to go a little bit off script. I had the opportunity today to visit some operations facilities, and I was at the Woodland Data Center, where I was with our operations team, and we saw a report card data booklet from 1916. And I took a picture because in 1916, one, it showed, some high schools that we still have in operations, Glenville. There's some schools we don't have in operations anymore. But at that time, in 1916, there were 75,000 students. And I looked at that with my team. I said, 75,000 students in 1916, 110 years ago. And we know that enrollment increased from that time. I think somewhere in our peak in the 60s and 70s, we got up to about 100,000 students. But I want to take you to this moment of time of where we were in 2004 at about 70,000 students, almost back to where it was in 1916. And since that time, we've lost over 50% of our students. And we're not losing those students to charters and privates, our data has shown us, which is why it was really important in the conversation we were having before. Our data is showing birth rates are down. We are not the only system, not only in the state, in our county, but across the country, there are other systems that are losing students due to birth rates. And we've had this dramatic decrease. And we have just about the same number of buildings we're operating now as we did then. And so it's really important that we think about our measure and get real about the amount of students we have now. And each year we're bringing in smaller cohorts. So it's important that we have those, that we look at our footprint. How we're addressing these, I do want to share some different things that we've done over time. This is a chart that shows our central office staff, and looking particularly at staff that are in 1111 and also at East Professional Center. And you can see the dramatic decline, particularly since I've come in, to make sure we've reduced positions. We've reduced 70 people from central office, 70 positions. That's a decrease of 17% since 2024. And we continue to take those measures. We also try to continue to close the gap between positions that we have that are open versus those that are staffed. And when we have a position that doesn't need to be open, we will close a vacancy. And so we've also closed that gap. The blue line is a position, the orange line are staff positions, and as you can see, we've closed that gap over time, and we've also decreased the amount of positions. It's really important that we protect the instructional core. One of the things I mentioned when I first got here is that I'm a student of the PELP framework, and at the center of the PELP framework is the instructional core. So one of the things we've tried to do, that's why I showed you the measures that we've taken before we went directly into our schools, was to cut outside of the classroom in the school. And unfortunately, this year, we got to the point where this was the year where we had to look at what was taking place in schools. We all know that next year we will have a new footprint. We will have 29 less schools. 59 traditional schools will be operating, but we will still be operating all of our non-traditional schools, such as Natividad Pagan, such as our remote schools, School of One. We'll still be operating our juvenile detention center, our school at the juvenile detention center, and also the high-tech academy program. One of the things the board charged us with was through Building Brighter Futures, the resolution that the board passed with Building Brighter Futures, that we would save $30 million through Building Brighter Futures, and that is what we have. And the majority of the $30 million is in people. When we're talking about the consolidation of 29 schools, we will have a significantly smaller footprint. I also want to mention some of the things that were shared during public comment. Those were not arbitrary decisions that were just made. They're also contractual. So I understand when people are asking questions about 5 Cs, which if you remember when we presented the Building Brighter Futures presentation, I shared we would actually still have 5 Cs. It was pointed out to us during the process that before we could do a teacher layoff, that we had to have 5 Cs. I've heard about LPNs. As many of you guys know, my mom is an LPN and a school nurse. So I hear those concerns, and Ms. Tuggle, you and I have talked about this many times before, so I also know the importance of this work. But those things are also by the contract. These are things we're following the contract. Our necessary transfer process, that is part of the contract. And so these things that we're doing now, yes, we are making the decision based on our finances that we have to make impacts. How that is being done, the people, the seniority, all of those rules are, of course, dictated by the contract, which is why it's so important. I know I'm meeting with President Savage on a daily basis, and our teams are working really together to figure out if there's anything we're going to do that's outside that contract, what does that look like? But I do want to let you know we are following the provisions of contracts. We have 9 different unions, so it's not just our teachers' contract. We have our several of our support staff, we have our bus drivers, we have also our security staff, so many different contracts. But we also, through Building Brighter, we saved $30 million. We also saved $20 million through central office through cuts. So through the central office budgeting process, there was $15 million I charged our cabinet with to come up with $15 million of savings from their teams, and then another $5 million that we were already doing in a year for an amount of $20 million. So just know that just almost about the same amount we've saved through Building Brighter Futures, we've done that work also through the central office budgeting process. As of April 14th, we were projecting about 410 full-time staff members to be impacted. Some have to go before the board because those are what those contracts provide, those provisions. Some do not. Some are at will. They don't need board approval. But knowing that there was about 410. Now, where we are today, there are some different things with working through different unions. The number is slightly lower. I mentioned that we're working now with President Savage to see what we are going to do and what we can do to mitigate this number. But we do have 86 administrators. We're surpassing that auditor of the state recommendation of 77.5 of administrators that were recommended to no longer be in the system at the end of this year, and approximately 146 teachers, 146 to 149, all of which are eligible to come back into the system, because these are not non-renewals, but they're eligible to come back into the system. So as we're working with our bargaining partners, if there are ways that we can bring people back in, we will work with that, and we're working with our unions to do that. I know I had a call with the regional director for SEIU last week as well. We are not the only system impacted by this. I know you guys have seen this slide before. Several of our other regions are in the same boat, and some of them in much tougher positions in terms of cash they actually have available on hand, and also how long they will have before they actually run out of cash. These are other systems that are in the same position. It also shows that all of us have recently passed levies. So it shows that even when the community continues to show we believe in public education, we believe in our kids, the way our funding formula is set up by the state, it is impacting not only kids in Cleveland, but as you can see in Akron, in Cincinnati, in Columbus, also Toledo, other parts, Dayton, everyone is being impacted. These are some of the other headlines that currently right now, there are other districts that are in the process of laying staff members off, giving staff members notices, and these are tough decisions. These are people, these are families, and we are not the only ones impacted by this. As I shared before, there's a balancing act as we move forward. We know that there's work we have to do to bring revenue back into the system, and there are ways we could bring revenue back in the system by activating and advocating for fair funding, to be fully funded at the state. I have these conversations. I know when I go to Columbus, the board and I are part of different groups where we can advocate at the federal level as well, because everyone is in this same boat together. And also I heard from the community, there were several commenters, including listening to President Savage's remark, that this is what we need to do to advocate for our kids in terms of how funding is actually coming into our system, how it's actually being funded. So there's work we can do to really ensure that we increase revenues into the system, but we also need to make sure that we continue to find ways we can save. I hear the comment where it's like, don't cut your way from the top or to the top. But there's work we have to continue to do to look at, we are a much smaller system than what we once were. How can we do that while also providing our kids more? And that's what we're doing through Building Brighter Futures. We are, finding savings through the work we've done to cut resources, to close schools, but at the end of the day, I want to go back to what kids will have and what we will be able to provide. And I also want to remind you, as much pain is in this room, think about that kid, and I heard many of you talk about that kid when you were up at the mic. Think about that kid and what's at stake for him or her. There's too much at stake, and we need to ensure we're providing a high-quality education, one where they can have access to programs. You know, some of the other data points I've shared. Currently, right now, we've talked about Algebra 1, and I hear about the Algebra 1 teachers, some that have been impacted. Currently, right now, only 7% of our elementary schools offer Algebra 1 in 8th grade. In the fall, 40% will. Currently, 1% offer band. In the fall, 49% will offer band. These are access to programs that we will be able to provide Things that in our current structure we cannot do because our resources are spread too thin and they're too scarce. So I understand the individual level, I understand the impact, I understand the pain. And I also ask our community to rally around our kids because too much is at stake, and that's what we're going to do through Building Brighter Futures. We will work through this together. I will continue to hear those individual comments. I will continue as I go out to schools, talk with people directly, see staff members that were impacted directly. I know I've run into some of you guys in stores, and you guys have shared with me your stories. We're committed to not only seeing what we can do through the work we're doing with the teachers union, we're having a fair that's coming up where we're trying to provide resources and seeing what we can do. If there are avenues to bring staff members back, we want to do that. But I also want us to remind ourselves what's at stake for our kids. And with that, that's the end of this portion of the presentation. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. Is there discussion from the board on this presentation? I do have a few questions and comments. So you talked about the union contracts and that the 5 Cs under the union contract are the first that have to go in the event of layoffs. There's also, and I asked you about this because I frankly didn't get it. I asked, why are we cutting an algebra teacher at Campus International? And this is not to say that other teachers are not important, but I'm talking about the context of the algebra needs that we have and how does that fit in. And yes, I did vote on it because I got the information, but could you answer that question for the room as well?
Yeah.
Around like how the contract impacts who is the subject of layoffs initially?
Yeah, no, great question. Not only our contract and also state law. Yes, definitely looking definitely at you, and also to all of our other educators as well. I'm talking to everyone in the room. So a couple
to be clear, my question is not about one person, but the example of that type
exactly.
of layoff.
Yeah, most definitely. So a few things. Not only does the contract dictate that, also law. And this is the first time we're doing a reduction of force since 2011. If you remember, the law that dictates what the Cleveland Plan is came in 2012. So this is the first time we're living into the law. So not only following the law, following the contract. But first I want to talk about the work we've done. Because I am a human-centered approach person, this is work we've been doing, working with our union partners since January. We've been meeting bi-weekly. We will get to the question. Since January, we've been meeting with our union partners, and one of the things when I was working with previous leadership, we wanted to get the number as low as possible. So there were some positions we actually added back into the system. Math is a priority for the system, so I know for our high school math teachers, for the majority, we held a lot of math high school teachers, we put them back into the system. I think there may have been one that was impacted, but there were about 10 that should have been on the list based on seniority, and those were ones we added back into the system. There were a couple of other positions, I think there were about 26 to 29 positions identified as high need areas based on the goals that we're trying to reach in the system, based on the programs of Building Brighter Futures that we're trying to bring back, that we added back in the system. Those never got layoffs. Now, specifically to my colleague that we're talking about here, and then to others, the contract does dictate in terms of who are some of the first to go, and it is usually by seniority. It is by evaluation. We are a system where the majority of our teachers are rated accomplished in skill. But if there are teachers that are rated in different categories, even sometimes they're rated skilled, accomplished teachers can come before them in terms of how that goes in the provision. There's also seniority. There's also teachers who are, if they're provisional, if they're in their first, second, sometimes third year, it lowers the seniority in terms of where they would be. And that's all dictated in terms of the work that happens through the contract. And so there were several teachers that fell into those categories. There were teachers that had been in the system for many years, but maybe got reclassified or didn't have a license, or they came back. I know there was some person that was in a different administrative class and then came back into the teaching profession, but has been in the system for years and also got a letter. But because of the way it falls in the contract, that's how it went. And so our talent team worked really closely with our union to really make sure we were following those provisions correctly.
Thank you. And then I had another question about classroom size. I know we've talked about this a few times. People do keep bringing it up, and that's because it's important. It impacts the ability of teachers to, teach a classroom. And having been someone who has gone to under-resourced schools myself, where we had large classroom sizes and, frankly, many other worse things, I just wanted to have you explain, and the board has asked this many times, explain what the classroom sizes will look like and how that actually works within this plan, given the changes.
Yeah, no, great question. Things that we shared before, this plan will ensure that we will still be able to be at our contractual rate, 25 for the lowest grade band, 28 for the next grade band, and 30, I think, at the high school level. So those are at the contractual levels in terms of what the classroom size, the contract dictates for it. Now, so we are monitoring that when we're doing this through Building Brighter Futures. One of the things we shared, though, we have several schools that there's only one teacher per grade level. And so when there's only one teacher per grade level, there are some really large class sizes now, because if you get, and I've used this example before, an influx of 10-year-olds that are in fourth grade and there's only one fourth grade teacher in a school, there's only one place to put them. Through Building Brighter Futures, most of our schools will have 2 teachers per grade level, at least at the elementary level. And we will be able to split some of those class sizes up. I did receive a question from a teacher looking at, we did receive a question from a teacher looking at I think it was a kindergarten teacher looking at class sizes and was saying, well, if we take the kindergartners at my school combined with the kindergartners at that school, there's going to be like 70 kindergartners and there's only 2 teachers. So some of those things we're looking at, but for that same school, we were looking at how many kids are actually registered for kindergarten, and there are 14 currently. And so one of the things that's really important for us to look at is actual student numbers. And actually students who are enrolling, and we are monitoring those patterns. We are starting to look at some analytics now that the choice lottery is done. We do have some families that are new to CMSD that are starting to get placed into their schools, and we're looking at what those class sizes are. But right now, we're feeling optimistic that we'll be able to stay there. And quite frankly, some of the provisions we're looking at to see if there are ways that we can bring in, more staff to provide that cushion, does allow us some flexibility if there are some classes that, or if we need to add a class in a building where there is space or not. But right now, our data is actually showing us, actually after the choice enrollment window, there was, and this was before we did any impact, I think there were, I'll get the number of schools. I want to say that there were maybe 19 schools that we needed to add, and I'm looking at my academics team. There were 19 schools that we added a teacher to it based on the enrollment that we were seeing from applications coming in, but then there were 19 schools that we actually took away a teacher because the enrollment wasn't there. And so we continue to monitor this, and of course we'll see where we are in the fall. It'll be a great thing if we actually have more students that are in, but we also want to provide that space so we have that cushion.
Thank you. Ms. LeBron?
Thank you, Chair. So I want to say, I really appreciate the financial context slide that you provided, where you mentioned, like, even when we support our public educations through the levy, the state funding formula continues to require more reductions. I think that's real, and I think that we need to, continue to say that and continue to remind our community that that's what we're facing. But I also, so that's my first point. My other point was, actually, before Chair Ellicott asked the question about class size, I had pulled up the contract to actually review it myself. In Article 10, it states exactly what you shared. But I also hear from the community that that's not what's actually happening in some of these schools right now. And so making sure that we're providing the right supports and that we're evaluating currently how to support them, but then also in BBF, making sure that we're sticking to this 2 teacher per grade level model so that they can support each other. But I also think your point about let's look at the actual data, how many students are enrolled is also important. So there's so many moving parts and pieces that are important to consider, but I do want to make sure that the supports are in place so that teachers can provide quality education in the classroom, and that they're not over these threshold numbers, that, we can actually stick to the contract guidelines.
Yeah, most definitely. And one of the things I always say is watch us work. And so one of the things I appreciate you guys do is you guys hold us accountable by doing these presentations. We'll continue to bring data back, especially as we have our enrollment data up, and we'll continue to show class sizes. I know that when we have our progress monitoring we do weekly, we're starting to look at where we are in terms of where students are choosing and where we'll be in the fall. So watch us work, hold us accountable as we bring those numbers to you.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. I see no further questions on, where? Oh, I'm sorry, Pastor Jones, your light is being blocked by Dr. Morgan's giant coffee.
Thank you, Chair, and to our CEO. You mentioned the advocating for state funding, state fair school funding that is needed. What can you speak to? I see your report on the other cities such as Cincinnati and Columbus, Toledo, and now Cleveland trying to stay and keep out of state precaution. How can we advocate? What is some things we could do?
And you know, I'll talk about the things we're doing, but I'll also talk just broadly of what we can do. I mean, things we are doing, we are part of the Ohio 8 Coalition I've talked about. That's not only something I'm a part of. Mr. Savage, as the president of the Teachers Union, is now a part of that. And that's the sole purpose of that is, you know, whether district CEOs, district superintendents and with their union presidents are coming down to advocate for those resources, and that's really important. We've been active members in that, and that's continued work we continue to do. We have a lobbyist that we work with to help us with these issues. I have routine roundtables meeting with our state legislators about this work. Before our last board meeting, did a roundtable with all of our local legislators who are either representatives or at the state, just trying to understand this work. Representative Bride Sweeney, who is just a master at understanding state funding and budgeting, the amount of times I've met with her just talking about the issues we've had over the past few years of just saying, this is the work we're doing. And I remember talking with Governor DeWine and talking to him about the work we're doing to building brighter futures. One, he said it's bold, because I've shared many times before, it is not fun when you have to make the tough decisions. I don't know if you guys think I get personal pleasure out of the work that we are doing now, or also that we actually like when people are angry or upset. That's not fun. I would, you know, ask any day that we would trade on that. No one will want that. But it is important because I do believe what's at stake. So I believe I will go to bat for our babies because I was one of them. And so if it means standing up here, it means, you know, taking the hate. If it means people saying things when they don't know you, I'll take it because I will go to bat for my babies, just as I know you will too. But I say that to say one of the things Governor DeWine shared was, he said, wow, you guys are doing bold moves. And I said, yeah, we're doing bold moves. And expect that we're going to have a bold ask, because there's not a lot of people in the state willing to take on the tough decisions. As a matter of fact, this city has kicked down tough decisions for years because of sometimes needing to take some of the public pressure. We are taking the tough decisions. We are making the bold decisions for our babies. We need to advocate. And I say that to everyone. I say it not only to our board members, I say it to everyone here, because we all vote. We all have elected leaders who we work with. We all are part of different groups to advocate. It is really important to advocate for the policies and the resources that are coming in that dictate this, not only at the state level, but at the federal level. And so I ask for your partnership in that. And now that we've done the hard work internally, or continue to do the hard work internally, you will definitely see us looking more externally to do some more of this work as we advocate.
Thank you for the question, Pastor Jones, and I would just underscore that with regard to the state funding issues, they get worse every year, and we can't address them alone. I know, as you said, there's a lot of pain in this room. A lot of the pain that, like, we grapple with these decisions is in many parts because of the state funding situation. So, you know, I think I shared a few meetings ago that someone raised vouchers earlier, right? That CMSD, Cleveland students in CMSD bring in about $5,000 in funding from the state, whereas the state gives private school families vouchers in the amounts of $8,000 per student that they can use regardless of what their income level is. So whether they have a need or not, they can be a millionaire and get an $8,000 state voucher, while our students are being funded at a level of $5,000. So that's just one of the many examples, and my hope is that in the coming meetings, we'll be able to bring some additional expertise to talk more about state funding. I know we've got obviously a great expert in Chief Stockdale as well, but we'll work to bring someone in who works with many districts and can talk more on the topic. So I really appreciate that question, Pastor Jones. All right, seeing no further discussion on this presentation, Dr. Morgan, we've covered a lot of content this evening, and I have never done this before, but because I do think the work of monitoring our goals and guardrails is the work, and that we have to continue to do it at every meeting. But I am going to make a motion. Do I need to make a motion if it's not a resolution? Okay, well then I'm just going to table the goal monitoring update on 3.3, and we will plan to address that at the next meeting. And that will move us into my question of whether there's any old business. Okay. And we know at our next meeting we will have old business from the resolutions that we tabled today. Is there any new business? All right. I do want to recognize that we are about to have Ms. Peak's birthday, so advance happy birthday, Ms. Peak. Wish you a wonderful one and many more. The chair will now entertain a motion that the board enter into executive session for the purpose of considering the appointment and employment of public employees and officials, preparing for negotiations with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, and conferring with attorneys concerning disputes involving the Board of Education that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Sridhar, please call the roll on this motion.
Ms. Ellicott?
Yes.
Mr. Billups?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Pastor Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Peak?
Yes.
Ms. Walchauer?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. 9 votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. The motion passes, and the board will now move into executive session. Following executive session, the board will return to this room without conducting any further business besides adjourning the meeting.
Going on here today is a Meet the Farmer event. So we have this year partnered with 4 Cleveland growers that grow the vegetables that are on the salad bars that are in some of our schools. and the students can meet the farmer. Today we have Farmer Sarah and Farmer Jamel, and they get to meet the farmer that grows their food. They can ask them questions. We have trading cards, and the students get to try the produce items that the farmers grow, and it just encourages them to try something new, to eat fresh vegetables, and they can meet the farmer, and then they get to vote on if they like the produce item or not, and they get fun stickers, and we have what if they write on the board of what they liked about the product.
This is one of the youngest demographics that we can have an influence on, and when you're talking about school lunches, this is food that they're going to be eating daily for a majority of the year, right? And so to be able to introduce local foods on a daily basis to students within the Cleveland area is just evolutionary.
We're talking about the benefits of fresh foods and also the difference between local fresh foods and those you might get, say, at a grocery store that might have been shipped from all over the country or world to get to your plate, often picked months and months earlier and don't have the same level of nutrition or flavor. So giving them that experience of eating something that was grown locally and why that's so important and why it's so important to grow your own food.
It was kind of sour. It was sour. And that was my first time ever trying that, but it had a pretty color.
One of our students, they did something special for someone in the community. And so we get all these people here to celebrate and to recognize what Allison did for someone in her community.
That morning while boarding the school bus, you noticed a small child wandering alone on the street, wearing only a t-shirt. Recognizing the danger the child was in, you immediately alerted the bus driver and took action to help. I want to give you a First District Commander's coin. It's got a 1 on the front for the First District and the seal of the Cleveland Division of Police on the back.
And I saw the girl walk out and the bus driver was about to hit her.
And so what did you say to the bus driver?
I was like, stop. And then he told me, who is that? Is that your niece? I was like, no, that's not my niece. And then I went off the bus to go grab her.
It shows a great deal of awareness and maturity for her age. Most kids, like you say, they're on the bus, they're talking, they're on their phone, you know, and the fact that she noticed, she paid attention, you know, to what was going on at that particular time is just, you know, amazing.
I think it's very important because, you know, we're a community. We work together, we help each other, and that's how we get things done, and she's already doing that. Children can teach us a lot, and I think she did. Be aware, look around, help people when you see them in need.
I don't really care about the gifts because it was just the point to save somebody, anybody that need help.
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes with CMSD Communications. Today, I am so excited. I am hanging out with 2 of the Senate League girls flag football teams, John Hay and Rhodes. This sport is gaining popularity. Right now, CMSD has 7 teams. I'm so excited to learn more about flag football. Let's go. Joining me now is head coach of the John Hay ladies flag football team, Coach Vanetta Kreider. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I know this is an exciting sport. It's a growing sport. It just got sanctioned by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's exciting news. So now your girls can go for state championships. Yeah. But you know, some of us were brand new to flag football. Tell me, what is the difference between flag football and just basic football?
The difference for flag football and basic football for our girls is that we actually get to compete this year. Outside of only using flags and not be able to contact each other, and we have to wear mouthpieces.
Okay, but just talk about the growing popularity of this girls sport and how exciting it is, especially here in CMSD and the Senate League.
Yes, right now it means that girls flag football is now recognized by OSHA. So now we get more opportunities to get school fundings. So luckily we're a Division I school, so we had about 40 girls that come and try out. So this year we were expecting even more.
I mean, what do you think about that more girls want to play football?
I'm excited. I'm excited to teach them and for them to want to be competitive and lead and be outside their comfort zone.
The fact that it's, when people think about football, they think about it as a male-dominated sport. The fact that flag football, especially girls flag football, is taking off, it gives young ladies an opportunity to play what once was known as a male-dominated sport. Can you just talk about that opportunity for them?
Yes, now it gives the girls a platform to compete and lead, and we're breaking stereotypes and proving that football isn't just for boys. Anybody can play as long as you got the passion and the skill for it.
And joining me now are two players from the girls flag football team at Rhodes. Welcome. Tell me your names and what grade you're in.
I'm Aaliyah. I go to Rhodes Environmental Studies and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Naya. I go to RCCA and I'm in 10th grade.
Wonderful. So just tell me, because I don't know, I'm learning, what is the difference between flag football and football?
Well, flag football and regular football, we already know it's not as much contact, but there's a lot you can do. Like the quarterback can't run.
The ball is smaller, less people on the field, so it gives. And flag it's quick. It's not like football. Football you have more time. Flag is quick, and you have less time.
Okay, and then you also have the flags. Yeah. How hard or easy is it to get another opponent's flag?
It depends on how fast the person is moving.
Yeah, definitely.
And what moves they're pulling out. But usually, if you're catching up to the person, it's very easy. They're not hard to pull or nothing, so.
So tell me, why did you guys want to join the team?
Well, I wanted to join the team because ever since I was very young, I always played regular football with my brothers. And when I got older, I realized it was something I always wanted to do. In 2023, I played flag football with boys, but then I got scouted for a girls team, and we went all the way to nationals in Las Vegas and won a championship ring there. And then when I came here, there was no flag football team, so I asked if I could play tackle. But my mom wouldn't let me, and then I found out later on we had a flag football team, and I was like, oh, this is my sport, so I'm definitely going to play.
I also feel like a sport that was really made for boys that girls never really got the opportunity to play. When I saw it at Rhodes, I feel like a sport that was always classified as a boys sport, girls being able to play, I feel like that was really cool, so I really wanted to take that opportunity to play. And I also, Coach O'Neill, she really inspired me to play. She was the assistant basketball coach, and it really gave me something to do, and now it's something I really would do the rest of my years in high school and see where it takes me.
Right, so this is the second season for the team. Just talk about how fun it is and just the team camaraderie that you ladies have.
It was very fun. In the first year, it was some rough patches, but we always got through it. Our coach, she's a very great coach because she is more informational about flag football than basketball. So when she is out here, she put her heart on the field just like we do.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, she really great. She keeps us all lifted up. Something could go wrong, and she was always bringing the joy. It was our first year was really fun. We went real far, and just seeing where it took us, it made me excited for the next season to come. What we gonna bring to the table, and flag, I didn't expect it to be I thought it was just gonna be something to do. But when we actually started playing, I'm like, this fun. It's really fun.
Now another difference is that flag football is played in the spring and not in the fall like regular football. Well, can you just talk about the fact that now it is a sanctioned sport, and so now you guys can go for a state championship? Just talk about you guys could be the state champs.
That's very exciting to me because, like I said, I always love football in general. So for me to have this opportunity to probably ever get scholarships to play in college is just something I want to achieve.
I think that's really good. It opens up more opportunities for the girls and gives girls something to do, because we always, as a girl, we always doubt it, or we don't always get as much opportunity, so it just opens the door for girls sports.
Now it's still, even though you guys don't have pads and a helmet, it still can be tough. I mean, it's still it's still a contact sport, would you not say?
You're definitely gonna fall. You're definitely gonna
get bumps.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Yes, it's very exciting.
All right, well, thank you, ladies.
The Board of Education's job is to make sure that the right adult behaviors are in place so that students can learn and grow in school every day.
I hope to motivate the scholars in some form and capacity, really to make sure that they're inspired by the work that we do for them. This is a job of service, fully volunteer role, but the people that are serving on the board, myself included, are doing it out of passion and pure hope of the scholars' futures. And so I hope that they start to believe in themselves the same way that we believe in them.
Having been an educator all my life, I thought I would have a significant role to play in shaping what our young people and young scholars and our future leaders are going to be doing with their education. I believe in paying it forward, and I still believe I am paying it forward for myself.
I am an inveterate volunteer, and so I saw this as an opportunity to give back to the Cleveland community and try to make a difference.
I enjoy being engaged with people in my neighborhood, hearing from them, learning what they think about different things, hearing suggestions, hearing thoughts, even the complaints. I enjoy engaging with the students, and I think that's my role with being a board member, is engaging with the community in every way possible.
I'm out there every day talking to people, sitting on every community work group that you can think of. What I want to accomplish is that we level up the opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible. And I want you to be able to discover all the goodness in you, because we all have something that is unique about us. So we want to give you the opportunity to explore that and make good decisions once you leave the school system.
I believe that this district can be a premier district, and I'd love to be remembered for pushing a standard of excellence.
I wanted to give back to the school system that I participated in from kindergarten to graduating senior. I'm hoping to make a difference, have a positive impact, and see the test scores and graduation rates increase. I also hope to inspire other CMSD alum to give back to CMSD with their time and support.
I'm grateful to interact with so many wonderful people, brilliant individuals who have the capabilities and skill sets to really make our city even greater. And I'm just honored to be a part of the plan of the CMSD and the service of this community.
As a kid myself, I moved around a lot and I went to a lot of different schools. And what I saw firsthand is that all children are born equal with the same rights to education, but not all schools are created equal. And some schools have more resources than others, some schools have more of the right practices than others, and I wanted to be a part of making sure that our school system was the right system for our children so they could have the education that they deserve.
We all have different skill sets, different experiences, different backgrounds that we all bring to the table when it's time for us to have these discussions. We bring different perspectives and different life experiences. And so being able to sit at the table with other leaders in our community and people who actually are invested in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District system, it means that we're providing different perspectives. We're looking at it from different lenses and different angles, which is also representative of our community, right?
You know, our students achieving everything that they possibly can, achieving and striving towards our goals and guardrails that our board laid out. I think that, you know, producing students that can enter the world in whatever way they choose to and be successful is really the only thing to accomplish from my perspective.
Most importantly is increasing student outcomes. So we have our challenges, but my board colleagues and I and Dr. Morgan and his incredible staff are heavily focused on that, and we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen.
My favorite quote is Man in the Arena, actually. It's by former President Teddy Roosevelt, and it's really about not paying attention to the critics. It's not the critic who counts, it's not the person on the sidelines, it's the person who's getting dusty in the arena every single day and getting back up again and again and again, even after failure. And even if you fail at something, at least you failed by daring greatly. But the only way to be great is to try.
Today it is the last scrimmage to find out who goes to state. It has been a really great journey. It's different learning about STEM and like robotics and tech.
My favorite part about building the robot is all the teamwork it takes. The teamwork, I feel like it brings our team together, and I really like that part.
The robot has to launch artifacts, which is similar to a ball. So they're launching it into a pyramid type situation and get those points. And then you have to line your robot in a certain order to get points. it's a lot of challenges in depth in getting points.
Our robot, it took us a lot of time to really build it. It took a lot of patience. We came across many problems and challenges, like our chain kept breaking, so we had to find a lot of solutions to that problem. And it was a lot of gracious professionalism used.
This is their thing, and they really take it seriously, and they come out and they try, and you just, like this morning, one of my girls did something in one of the presentations, and I started to tear up because I was just so proud of them because I've never seen this child do this, and she just blossomed right in front of me.
Hey CMSD family, I'm Tiffany and we are back with our final episode of On Guard CMSD Safety and Security. Today I'm joined with a few scholars from our Garrett Morgan campus and they are here to tell us about how our safety officers create a better learning environment and how the feeling of safety helps scholars to learn better. So in your opinion, how do safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
I feel like they make a better learning environment because kids don't have to worry about things outside of school because security already has it like put together and make sure the kids are safe around the campus.
Just to piggyback off what he said a little bit, I agree. Like, you don't have to focus, you can focus on learning and learning only. You don't have to focus on anything outside of that.
Yeah, the security officers do help us get to class on time, make sure we aren't getting sidetracked. So they help us push us to our classes to make sure we're on track.
And why do you think having safety officers is important for the school community? So you kind of talked about a little bit about what they do, but what is the feeling that they give you?
It's like comfortability, which I feel like is really important when you're trying in a learning institute.
I feel more like I can get my education without worrying about anything.
Yeah, it provides almost like a safety net of knowing that they're there with us to help us if we are having any issues that occur. Yes.
So can you let me know, what do you appreciate most about our safety officers?
I appreciate that you can, they're safety officers, but you can also have a conversation with them. They're here to protect us, but they are also they have a character. They are people, so they know how to talk to us because they were once us at a certain point in time. So.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I appreciate how you can sometimes have a conversation with them if you're ever in need, if you ever need to just talk about a situation you're having at home or an issue you're having at school. You could just talk to them and they'll give a reply and try to help you.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really calm and chill. They like to talk to the student and try to encourage them, and it's cool.
A big thank you to our safety and security team and our scholars over here at Garrett Morgan High School. Now let's head over to John F. Kennedy. Now we're here at John F. Kennedy High School with a few of our scholars here to tell us why safety and security matters for their learning environment. So first, in your opinion, how do safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
Make the students feel more safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we
they
need more security guards.
they help
make us feel safe.
Help the teachers sometimes too, the principals. You're more comfortable. You ain't got to worry about people coming here doing stuff they ain't supposed
Crazy
to be doing.
stuff.
So to feed off that, what do you appreciate most about your safety officers here?
They help a lot.
I
they
feel
help
like
a
they
lot.
all they make sure we good. They help the principal, admin team with the kids, and yeah.
Yeah, we got a good bond with them too. Yeah. Some of them take their job too serious, but that's good
because we need that. We need that that structure.
Do you think, in your opinion, feeling secure helps students learn their best?
Yeah. They ain't got to worry about nothing no dangers or nothing like that.
Yeah,
you don't have a safe
here,
learning environment.
I feel like here, the security guards here, if we need them, we could always go talk to them,
Got a good bond with most of them. We knew them for most of the time we've been here, so.
What you see before you is a culmination of 2.5 years of work. But moreover, it was 86 years of blood, sweat, and tears put forth by men and women who comprise the Tuskegee experiment. Let history show that in the course of human endeavor, that never have so many owed so much to so few.
My first reaction was it looked a lot better than I did it in class. It took a lot, and I'm proud to see that it's up there, and I'm glad everyone else can see it too. I think it's good that the Tuskegee Airmen get their word out and their faces out because they helped this world, and I'm glad that I was able to help them represent it. I've seen everyone do their painting in class. I've seen like their entire process through it, and now looking at it inside the airport, it's like, wow, they did that. That's amazing.
My name is Lori Lane, and this is my father, Earl Roscoe Lane. He was with the 332nd of the Tuskegee Airmen. I think they did a fantastic job in doing it. I know when I was speaking to a group of them, they said they did a lot of research on it, but they were still open to listening and to learning more so that we have more young people that are able to display their talent, learn, and it's one, as a teacher, I know it's one of the greatest ways for students to learn, and for this will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I'm very happy today because I am sharing the CEO seat with a very amazing young scholar. She attends A.B. Hart and she's in 7th grade over there. This is Victorious, she goes by Tori Blackman, and she's CEO for the day. So CEO Blackman, yes, let's give her a hand.
I have been going to meetings and hanging out with some of the high schoolers and thinking about what high school I want to go to and just having fun with them.
To be a leader, you have to step in. It takes boldness. It takes not being afraid. And so far, Tori has been stepping up to the plate and showing that. Having a scholar with me has been amazing. And I mean, she was at the table earlier today with some of Cleveland's top leaders, and just being right at the table just means a lot to have that seat at the table. And so, and to be a young scholar, young lady of color, that just means a lot when we think about representation.
So today we started on our robots. Well, we started on robots like 2 days ago, but today we added like our finishing touches, and we made them waterproof with pool noodles. We attached motors to them with wax in it, so it's waterproofed. And those motors spin at a very high speed, so it can propel itself through the water and able to do its tasks. It's so cool because usually robots are like on the surface, right? This time it's underwater, which makes it harder to see, but more funner because like you don't know what's gonna happen.
The machine itself, you can program it first from your computer. Once you access, this is via Bluetooth. Basically you can control it from there and automate it wherever program you want to, set it at a specific time. Experiencing all of this, I've actually had a lot of fun being able to come up here and just learn about a machine. And I've personally been part of a robotics team, so being able to experience a machine automating other stuff like agriculture is a really good experience. I had a lot of fun.
So I just got to Cleveland. I just wanted to come out and see y'all. We working out every day. We got a purpose. We got something we trying to accomplish and achieve. But I'm trying to bring Cleveland, of course, a Super Bowl. What inspires me to keep going, I would say, knowing I got a lot of people watching me, knowing that I'm a positive influence to the youth. That's why I say what keeps me going. So like even coming here, seeing y'all.
You go to the website, you type in the access code, and you're in. Your kids' pictures are there, and you could easily, I have kids at 2 different schools, you can easily switch from school to school and keep up on top of it.
Everything's right there. Like everybody always has their phone with them, so you can easily access it to your phone.
It's a relief for me knowing that my child has the best chance that they can, knowing every day they wake up, they can go to school and, take advantage of the day.
The winner of the first annual Rise Pitch competition is, drum roll please, Riverside! Rise was birthed out of an opportunity that we thought was very, very important for us to be able to give students opportunity to have their voices centered. So we asked them a question. The question is, if you could solve a problem in your community with unlimited resources, how would you do it?
I'm 13 years old in the 7th grade at Elmira Elementary, and our group is excited to be here today to share our opportunity for action. I feel like that our gaming lab will help a lot of students because of these new technology industries that are coming from these foreign countries. which can excel our students and improvise them and get them set for life.
As a basketball player myself, sports helped me with a lot of teamwork, leadership, and even helped me with my mental health. So for me, I'm just asking, can we get more opportunities for sports all around the other school year?
We also wanted to make sure our ideas weren't just meaningful, but doable. We're excited to introduce a free roll of things we think that can make Riverside better right away.
Our goal is to think big for our classmates, our teachers, and our whole school.
Congratulations, and I hope that you have an amazing evening. Muchísimas gracias.
Today we have the ceremony award of the Seal of Biliteracy. We have students who took the STAMP test this year and they got the Seal of Biliteracy from different languages.
I speak multiple languages, well, 2 actually, Spanish and English. I'm excited that I earned this because I know it will bring a lot of opportunities for me in the future, so I'm very proud.
The Seal of Biliteracy is one of the seals that students could earn upon graduation, and that it gives them certification for being not only bilingual, that they can speak 2 languages, but they can also read and write both languages, and it's grown tremendously. It's a very, very important skill set that they will be transferring into the real world as they become adults, and they go not only to college, but also to the workforce, the military, and it also hits a lot of our goals for college and career readiness.
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes, and I'm here at Orchard STEAM School, and today we'll be taking a look at the ribbon dancing team as they prepare to perform at a school-wide event. And we are here with Felicia Kelly, who is the 5Cs coordinator and the ribbon dancers coach, and behind us, we have the ribbon dancers. So just tell me, how did you get this program started here at Orchard STEM?
Well, I did a praise dance for my mom for Mother's Day, and I used a ribbon, and I brought the ribbon in to demonstrate part of what we call demonstration of learning, and I brought it into the ribbon dance to the school, and the ribbon dancers that are now ribbon dancers loved it then and asked me, can we do the same thing? And I said, of course, and so I brought some ribbons and we started practicing and the team was created.
But you have told me that it has exploded. So many kids want to be a part of it now. So what is the age range of your ribbon dancers?
So we have 1st grade all the way up to 6th grade.
Nice. And
yes.
So while dancing is beautiful, but you are here to instill life lessons into these kings and queens. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, absolutely. And they will tell you my first rule of thumb is positive energy. I have it all over the media center here, and they know that we are about uplifting each other, about encouraging each other, about helping each other. So those are kind of the life lessons that I'm trying to instill so that they don't just incorporate it here in the 1st grade, 2nd grade, middle school, high school. These are lessons that I try to teach them for life. How to be kind to each other, how to treat each other, how to be sensitive to different situations that might come up.
So this is a STEAM school.
Yes.
So, and even though you're doing dance, which is arts, which is part of STEAM, you're also incorporating some other things. Can you talk about some of the things that you're trying to teach them as well when it comes to STEAM and dancing?
Okay, so the t-shirts that they're wearing today, they actually help make. We have Cricut machines, we have silhouette machines, and heat transfer paper to actually make the t-shirts, so that the t-shirts that they're wearing, they made them. And also 3D machines, we have laser cutters, we have actually, if you don't mind me stepping off camera a little bit, we have the capability of making mugs, and they help to design their own character on my mug, and it says, I love my ribbon dancers, and each ribbon dancer picked out their design and we made this mug for me.
Wonderful. I'm joined now with Mila and Paige. What grade are you in, Paige?
3rd.
And what grade are you in?
6th.
And tell me, why did you guys want to join the ribbon dancers?
So I can learn new things.
What about you?
Because I always wanted to dance in a group, so I always found passion for Miss Kelly's moves, and that's why I joined ribbon dance.
So besides dancing, what else have you learned? I know she talks about, life lessons. So tell me what life lessons you have learned.
I've learned to work with a team, not by yourself, and sometimes you just have to work together so you can make things happen.
Right, you're right. And what about you? What lesson have you learned?
I learned how to collaborate with my team and have teamwork, and when somebody's doing something, to have to encourage them.
Right, and some of the collaboration you guys have done is you had some art students paint this for you guys for your performance. Just talk about how you like performing in front of others and showing your other students what you've learned and show the beautiful dances that you've learned.
I enjoyed a lot because it's got me not to be scared when people are watching, so I'm not shy anymore like I used to. And now I talk loud, I'm just loud, all vibes, and when we perform, it makes me feel great because I show myself.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, no beeping, hold that up.
When the kids walk through the door, there's a personal relationship here. So immediately they have a connection with an adult as soon as they've entered the building.
Typical day at James Ford Rhodes is being active with the kids, trying to be proactive with the kids before it becomes reactive.
Sometimes we have to stop and counsel or assist a student that might be going through something when they came in this morning.
I greet the students, make sure the hall is clear, interact, ask them how their day was going, walk through, interact with the parents, the community, the mailman, the neighbors across the street. They familiar with me because I'm outside, I'm greeting with them.
I try to walk around, try to help the kids. I'm not trying to police them as a security officer. Can't do that. You try to help them in every way possible, and that's what I do. I'm a resource for them.
Going through the detectives, in the long run, I hear them say, boy, if it wasn't for y'all doing that, this, that, and that. So they really do like that detective, but just knowing that you in the halls.
And the students see that, and they see how I, if they beep or they see how I go through their bags, I don't play, so they feel safe. They be like, oh, there go Miss Campbell, Miss Campbell. When they fear something, they come straight, Miss Campbell, so-and-so, and I'll be like, okay. So that makes me feel that, they see that I'm serious about my job,
I have noticed if we're referencing the phone collection, a lot of the students are interacting more with one another instead of just being stuck on their phones. They've started to build relationships with one another and do different things that last year and the year before that we weren't actually noticing anymore.
Especially with how we do the yonder cases, bringing in, securing book bags, making sure that no items or weapons are brought into school. I think it makes students and scholars feel much more comfortable, much more safe.
When the kids come through, they understand there are necessary things that have to happen. But when the officers treat them in that way, like human beings, and make them feel special, they're not thinking so much about those things. They're thinking about the relationship they're building. It's the most important thing for everyone in a building, is that relationship you have with kids. And if it's positive, usually you're going to get positive results. Not all the time, but more often than not.
I would do it all over again for anybody. Hi, I'm Trisha Page, and I'm a first grade teacher at Andrew J. Rickoff. I had a couple students that were having lunch in the classroom with me that day. I was sitting at my table, like here in the back of the room, and her back was toward me this way.
So when I was eating my taco, I tried to dip my other one in the meat and cheese, but when it went to my throat, I choked on it.
She was choking, and she was making the choking. Her hands were on her throat, and there was no sound whatsoever. I got up, ran to her, told the other teacher to go run and get the nurse. She was sitting in her seat, so
when she told me to get up, my ear, they did this.
I went underneath of her her armpits here. I picked her up, I stood her up, and they started doing the Heimlich on her. And she was silent for a minute, and it was really scary. I don't know who was more scared, if she was more scared or if I was more scared. But eventually she started crying and making sound.
She observes our reward. Thank you for saving my life.
You're welcome. And I would do it all over again.
The Wake Up Cafe was created to give the students real-world experiences promoting communication, social, and life skills, and also to help the students gain independence and confidence.
We're also helping our students build independence and prepare them for future vocational opportunities. We have students that leave us and go on to high school, and when they get into a lot of our high school programs, they also have opportunities similar to this, and this prepares them to step into that role with some experience and some skills.
The students empower themselves by gaining pride and confidence through their roles. They are speaking up, they're supporting each other, they're problem solving, and it's empowering to see them step into their leadership roles and show what they're capable of.
I feel like coming to the Wake Up Cafe, we're able to see the capabilities of autistic individuals, and it helps to support inclusiveness.
It's a really great way to break down misconceptions and celebrate what's possible.
This year's competition is water theme based. How the competition goes is there's a reef. And of course, if you see on the theme, they're like the purple, it looks like a reef. And then we have the coral. The coral is basically like this, like a white pipe. And then the algae is a ball. And basically, to score points, your robot have to put algae onto the reef.
Each aligns 3 separate robotics teams. So it would be us and 2 different robotics teams that are just randomly picked to work with us. Usually before a match, we'll meet up with those 2 other robotics teams and we'll talk to them about strategy and what their robot can do and what ours can do. And usually we work together to kind of figure out the best game plan.
There's a autonomous ranking point, which is all 3 robots move off of a starting line, and then at least 1 robot scores 1 coral anywhere on the reef.
To build the robot, it takes like the whole team, which is about 20 people. And then we need people to program the robot, people to wire the robot. But once we have it all built and on the field, we only need 1 person to control the drive and 1 person to control the elevator and score. We also have a 3rd person who tells them what to do and looks at the whole field and is in charge of strategy.
The main challenge was just building the robot overall. It took about 10 weeks to build. It took a lot of teamwork and cooperation to build such a beautiful machine, and it also helped us learn new machines that normal high school hasn't used before, including mills, CNC machines, long drills, and just all kinds of different things.
This is actually one of the biggest competitions here in Ohio, and it's very diverse, so we'll be competing against some of the top competition today.
This season, this is our last regional. So we participated in Miami Valley, and this will be our last for this season. Our goal is to go home with a blue banner.
I've noticed observing the students' mental health is very important for the safety of the staff as well as everyone in the building.
A lot of our students feel comfortable talking to staff. Many staff members just kind of serve as just a listener, and they counsel where they can.
I've been with the district for almost a year now, so I know mostly everybody's names now. Everybody know my name. So me engaging with the kids, I'm just like an older sister to them. They come to talk to me about anything, and then we all been young before, so we know how it go.
Just talking to the scholars, just asking them questions, just something simple as how is their day going, how are they feeling, even something simple as asking them have they ate in the morning, just trying to keep that open line of communication with them, building a level of trust.
And so safety at school definitely matters. Safety en route home from school also matters as well, because if where students are concerned about that, the closer you get to that time, that's where the attention is going to be, even when they're sitting in the classroom.
If the kids don't feel safe, if the climate and culture for them is not safe, then they're not going to be engaged and they're not going to perform well on their tests. And so we don't want them to be in that situation, so we want them to know that we are here for you to support you in a mental capacity. And if you feel safe coming to school, then it should produce some great results when you get into your academics, into your testing.
That's my first priority, to make sure not only the kids feel safe, the staff feel safe, parents feel safe when they come in this building. That's just how I am. I welcome everybody. I just put their shoes in my shoes. Just like if my son in school, I would want him to feel safe while he's there. So while I'm here, I want these kids to feel safe.
Would you please go ahead and rewrite the numbers in your notebook so you have them? -1, 5.
I wanted to make sure that my students used education as a powerful tool, not just to get smart, but to change their environment. I have always believed in constructivist knowledge, so instead of me just giving kids information and them soaking it in, we've seen that that doesn't work with students very well. I have given them the tools to construct their learning. They're standing at the boards, they're talking to each other, they're coming up with more than one way to solve a problem. And I think that helps with the different learning styles because they're not just sitting, reading and writing. They're verbally communicating, they're talking to other people, they're collaborating not only with their team, but they can go check their answers at another board if they need to. So those things are included in those different learning styles. So I do try to do like weekly rewards where I acknowledge kids who've done everything that they're supposed to. And so kids who complete all of their tasks, they are recognized. And every day I'll do a shout out for kids who've been on their A game in terms of behavior or in terms of just trying their best. And a lot of times I'll just pull them aside and just say, I'm really proud of what you've done in class, and just sort of give them benchmarks and goals to work towards. Solving problems is just what we do as humans outside of the classroom. So if you can be resilient and know that like maybe you didn't get it right the first time, you go back and you fix it. So even with their bell work, I'll say, if you don't like the grade, I put a comment, go back and fix it. If you don't like your answer, go back and fix it, redo things. So building up knowing that just because you didn't do well the first time, that's not failure, that's it. It's like evolving, it's an iteration of where you are, and go back and just become stronger and better, and don't look at not doing well the first time as failure.
I see paraprofessionals making a difference every single day. The minute they walk in the door with smiles on their face, they're the first people here greeting our scholars, always offering a friendly hello, hands-on work with these kids all day long.
And they just want all of our students to succeed and enjoy school.
My talent is observing and then applying. So a lot of times in the beginning of the school year, I would observe more, see what they like, see what interests them, or seeing what methods help them calm down or get them to actually learn, like whether it's occupational learning or academically learning.
Listening, being patient, being focused on what the children have to say and responding back to them.
There's like a lot of things I didn't know, like from different cultures. Like I've been learning a lot from them. Like there's a lot of things I don't even know from other countries that I've been learning. Every single day I'm learning something with them.
It just feels really good to be part of a team. And you never know, like I said, you might be doing one thing one day and one thing the next, but it all ends up being part of the, like, it takes a village kind of outlook, and it just feels good to be part of a team.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras. I love you.
My name is Barbara Davis, and I am the secretary here at Stephanie Tubbs Jones School. I grew up where the original Superman story was born. It inspired me because Superman is something that is not only big for Cleveland, but inspiration behind the creation of his character really brought inspiration to me in creating my characters. So my goal is to bring awareness to bullying amongst the youth, because I also was bullied when I was a child as well. When I grew up, I didn't have any superheroes that looked like me, and I looked around for them, but I couldn't find them. So I figure I can create them. My girls teleport around the world and fight against bullying mentally with the help of Serenity. I think it's pretty cool that I am able to still carry on a legacy that was built in Cleveland, Ohio, based off of Superman, and me being able to build hopefully the first triplet superheroes in Cleveland, starting from the place where Superman was created, is actually a big deal for me, and I'm pretty sure it's a big deal for our community, for the kids to be able to see superheroes that look just like them.
Going on here today is a Meet the Farmer event. So we have this year partnered with 4 Cleveland growers that grow the vegetables that are on the salad bars that are in some of our schools. And the students can meet the farmer. Today we have Farmer Sarah and Farmer Jamel, and they get to meet the farmer that grows their food. They can ask them questions. We have trading cards, and the students get to try the produce items that the farmers grow, and it just encourages them to try something new, to eat fresh vegetables, and they can meet the farmer, and then they get to vote on if they like the produce item or not, and they get fun stickers, and we have if they write on the board of what they liked about the product.
This is one of the youngest demographics that we can have an influence on, and when you're talking about school lunches, this is food that they're going to be eating daily for a majority of the year, right? And so to be able to introduce local foods on a daily basis to students within the Cleveland area is just evolutionary.
We're talking about the benefits of fresh foods and also the difference between local fresh foods and those you might get, say, at a grocery store that might have been shipped from all over the country or world to get to your plate, often picked months and months earlier and don't have the same level of nutrition or flavor. So giving them that experience of eating something that was grown locally and why that's so important and why it's so important to grow your own food.
It was kind of sour. It was sour. And that was my first time ever trying that, but it had a pretty color.
One of our students, they did something special for someone in the community. And so we get all these people here to celebrate and to recognize what Allison did for someone in her community.
That morning while boarding the school bus, you noticed a small child wandering alone on the street, wearing only a t-shirt. Recognizing the danger the child was in, you immediately alerted the bus driver and took action to help. I want to give you a First District Commander's coin. It's got a 1 on the front for the First District and the seal of the Cleveland Division of Police on the back.
And I saw the girl walk out and the bus driver was about to hit her.
And so what did you say to the bus driver?
I was like, stop. And then he told me, who is that? Is that your niece? I was like, no, that's not my niece. And then I went off the bus to go grab her.
It shows a great deal of awareness and maturity for her age. Most kids, like you say, they're on the bus, they're talking, they're on their phone, you know, and the fact that she noticed, she paid attention, you know, to what was going on at that particular time is just, you know, amazing.
I think it's very important because, you know, we're a community. We work together, we help each other, and that's how we get things done, and she's already doing that. Children can teach us a lot, and I think she did. Be aware, look around, help people when you see them in need.
I don't really care about the gifts because it was just the point to save somebody, anybody that need help.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes with CMSD Communications. Today, I am so excited. I am hanging out with two of the Senate League girls flag football teams, John Hay and Rhodes. This sport is gaining popularity. Right now, CMSD has 7 teams. I'm so excited to learn more about flag football. Let's go. Joining me now is head coach of the John Hay ladies flag football team, Coach Vanetta Kreider. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I know this is an exciting sport. It's a growing sport. It just got sanctioned by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's exciting news. So now your girls can go for state championships. But you know, some of us were brand new to flag football. Tell me, what is the difference between flag football and just basic football?
The difference for flag football and basic football for our girls is that we actually get to compete this year. Outside of only using flags and not be able to contact each other, and we have to wear mouthpieces.
Okay, but just talk about the growing popularity of this girls sport and how exciting it is, especially here in CMSD and the Senate League.
Yes, right now it means that girls flag football is now recognized by OSHA. So now we get more opportunities to get school fundings. So luckily we're a Division I school, so we had about 40 girls that come and try out. So this year we were expecting even more.
I mean, what do you think about that more girls want to play football?
I'm excited. I'm excited to teach them and for them to want to be competitive and lead and get outside their comfort zone.
The fact that it's, you know, when people think about football, they think about it as a male-dominated sport. The fact that flag football, especially girls flag football, is taking off, it gives young ladies an opportunity to play what once was known as a male-dominated sport. Can you just talk about that opportunity for them?
Yes, it now gives the girls a platform to compete and lead, and we're breaking stereotypes and proving that football isn't just for boys. Anybody can play as long as you got the passion and the skill for it.
And joining me now are 2 players from the girls flag football team at Rhodes. Welcome. Tell me your names and what grade you're in.
I'm Aaliyah. I go to Rhodes Environmental Studies and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Naya. I go to RCCA and I'm in 10th grade.
Wonderful. So just tell me, because I don't know, I'm learning, what is the difference between flag football and football?
Well, flag football and regular football, we already know it's not as much contact, but there's a lot you can do. Like the quarterback can't run.
The ball is smaller, less people on the field, so it gives. And flag is it's quick. It's not like football. Football you have more time. Flag is quick, and you have like less time.
Okay, and then you also have the flags. Yeah. How hard or easy is it to get another opponent's flag?
It depends on how fast the person is moving.
Yeah,
and what moves they're pulling out. But usually, if you're up, if you're catching up to the person, it's very easy. They're not hard to pull or nothing, so.
So tell me, why did you guys want to join the team?
Well, I wanted to join the team because ever since I was very young, I always played regular football with my brothers. And when I got older, I realized it was something I always wanted to do. In 2023, I played flag football with boys, but then I got scouted for a girls team, and we went all the way to nationals in Las Vegas and won a championship ring there. And then when I came here, there was no flag football team, so I asked if I could play tackle. But my mom would have let me, and then I found out later on we had a flag football team, and I was like, oh, this is my sport, so I'm definitely going to play.
I also feel like a sport that was really made for boys that girls never really got the opportunity to play. When I saw it at Rhodes, I feel like a sport that was always classified as a boys sport, girls being able to play, I feel like that was really cool, so I really wanted to take that opportunity to play. And also, Coach O'Neill, she really inspired me to play. She was the assistant basketball coach, and it really gave me something to do, and now it's something I really would do the rest of my years in high school and see where it takes me.
Right, so this is the 2nd season for the team. Just talk about how fun it is and just the team camaraderie that you ladies have.
It was very fun. In the first year, it was some rough patches, but we always got through it. Our coach, she's a very great coach because she is more informational about flag football than basketball. So when she is out here, she put her heart on the field just like we do.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, she really great. She keeps us all lifted up. Something could go wrong, and she was always bringing the joy. It was our first year was really fun. We went real far, and just seeing where it took us, it made me excited for the next season to come. What we gonna bring to the table, and flag, I didn't expect it to be I thought it was just gonna be something to do. But when we actually started playing, I'm like, this fun.
Now, another difference is that flag football is played in the spring and not in the fall like regular football. Well, can you just talk about the fact that now it is a sanctioned sport, and so now you guys can go for a state championship? Just talk about you guys could be the state champs.
That's very exciting to me because, like I said, I always love football in general. So for me to have this opportunity to probably ever get scholarships to play in college is just like something I want to achieve.
I think that's really good. Like it opens up more opportunities for the girls and gives girls something to do, because we always, as a girl, we always like doubt it, or we don't always get as much opportunity. So it just opens the door for girls sports.
Now it's still, even though you guys don't have pads and a helmet, it still can be tough. I mean, it's still, it's still a contact sport. Would you not say?
Like you're definitely gonna fall. You're definitely gonna
get bumps.
But it's fun.
Yes, it's very exciting.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
The Board of Education's job is to make sure that the right adult behaviors are in place so that students can learn and grow in school every day.
I hope to motivate the scholars in some form of capacity, really to make sure that they're inspired by the work that we do for them. This is a job of service, a fully volunteer role, but the people that are serving on the board, myself included, are doing it out of passion and pure hope of the scholars' futures. And so I hope that they start to believe in themselves the same way that we believe in them.
Having been an educator all my life, I thought I would have a significant role to play in shaping what our young people and young scholars and our future leaders are going to be doing with their education. I believe in paying it forward, and I still believe I am paying it forward for myself.
I'm an inveterate volunteer, and so I saw this as an opportunity to give back to the Cleveland community and try to make a difference.
I enjoy being engaged with people in my neighborhood, hearing from them, learning what they think about different things, hearing suggestions, hearing thoughts, even the complaints. I enjoy engaging with the students, and I think that's my role with being a board member, is engaging with the community in every way possible.
I'm out there every day talking to people, sitting on every community work group that you can think of. What I want to accomplish is that we level up the opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible. And I want you to be able to discover all the goodness in you, because we all have something that is unique about us. So we want to give you the opportunity to explore that and make good decisions once you leave the school system.
I believe that this district can be a premier district, and I'd love to be remembered for pushing a standard of excellence.
I wanted to give back to the school system that I participated in from kindergarten to graduating senior. I'm hoping to make a difference, have a positive impact, and see the test scores and graduation rates increase. I also hope to inspire other CMSD alum to give back to CMSD with their time and support.
I'm grateful to interact with so many wonderful people, brilliant individuals who have the capabilities and skill sets to really make our city even greater. And I'm just honored to be a part of the plan of the CMSD and the service of this community.
As a kid myself, I moved around a lot and I went to a lot of different schools. And what I saw firsthand is that all children are born equal with the same rights to education, but not all schools are created equal. And some schools have more resources than others, some schools have more of the right practices than others, and I wanted to be a part of making sure that our school system was the right system for our children so they could have the education that they deserve.
We all have different skill sets, different experiences, different backgrounds that we all bring to the table when it's time for us to have these discussions. We bring different perspectives and different life experiences. And so being able to sit at the table with other leaders in our community and people who actually are invested in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District system, it means that we're providing different perspectives. We're looking at it from different lenses and different angles, which is also representative of our community, right?
You know, our students achieving everything that they possibly can, achieving and striving towards our goals and guardrails that our board laid out. I think that producing students that can enter the world in whatever way they choose to and be successful is really the only thing to accomplish from my perspective.
Most importantly is increasing student outcomes. So we have our challenges, but my board colleagues and I and Dr. Morgan and his incredible staff are heavily focused on that, and we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen.
My favorite quote is Man in the Arena, actually. It's by former President Teddy Roosevelt, and it's really about not paying attention to the critics. It's not the critic who counts, it's not the person on the sidelines, it's the person who's getting dusty in the arena every single day and getting back up again and again and again, even after failure. And even if you fail at something, at least you failed by daring greatly. But the only way to be great is to try.
Today it is the last scrimmage to find out who goes to state. It has been a really great journey. It's different learning about STEM and like robotics and tech.
My favorite part about building the robot is all the teamwork it takes. The teamwork, I feel like it brings our team together, and I really like that part.
The robot has to launch artifacts, which is similar to a ball. So they're launching it into a pyramid type situation and get those points. And then you have to line your robot in a certain order to get points. It's a lot of challenges in depth in getting points.
Our robot, it took us a lot of time to really build it. It took a lot of patience. We came across many problems and challenges, like our chain kept breaking, so we had to find a lot of solutions to that problem. And it was a lot of gracious professionalism used.
This is their thing, and they really take it seriously, and they come out and they try, and you just, like this morning, one of my girls did something in one of the presentations, and I started to tear up because I was just so proud of them because I've never seen this child do this, and she just blossomed right in front of me.
Hey CMSD family, I'm Tiffany and we are back with our final episode of On Guard CMSD Safety and Security. Today I'm joined with a few scholars from our Garrett Morgan campus, and they are here to tell us about how our safety officers create a better learning environment and how the feeling of safety helps scholars to learn better. So in your opinion, how does safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
I feel like they make a better learning environment because kids don't have to worry about things outside of school because security already has it like put together and make sure the kids are safe around the campus.
Just to piggyback off what he said a little bit, I agree. Like, you don't have to focus, you can focus on learning and learning only. You don't have to focus on anything outside of that.
Yeah, the security officers do like help us get to class on time, make sure we aren't getting sidetracked. So they help us like push us to our classes to make sure we're on track.
And why do you think having safety officers is important for the school community? So you kind of talked about a little bit about what they do, but what is the feeling that they give you?
It's like comfortability, like which I feel like is really important when you're trying like in a learning institute.
What about you?
I feel more like I can get like my education without worrying about anything.
Yeah, like it provides a almost like a safety net of knowing that they're there with us to help us if we are having any issues that occur. Yes.
So can you let me know, what do you appreciate most about our safety officers?
I appreciate that you can, like, they're safety officers, but you can also have a conversation with them. Like, they're here to protect us, but they are also, like, they have a character. Like, they are people, so they, like, know how to talk to us because they were once us at a certain point in time. So.
Yeah, like to piggyback off of that, like I appreciate how you can sometimes have a conversation with them if you're ever in need, if you ever need to just like talk about a situation you're having at home or an issue you're having at school, you could just talk to them and they'll give a reply and try to help you.
Yeah, they're really like good. They're really like calm and chill. They like to talk to the student and try to like encourage them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just stand up here.
The chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned.
All right.